Okay, welcome along. 2022 Racing Post Cheltenham preview with Racing Royalty, brought to you by our sponsors, Paddy Power. Along the way, myself, Dave Orton, trying desperately to keep some order amongst the rabble. Let's go straight to Paul Kealy, who's got the jacket on a svelte. Paul Kealy.
Yeah, I thought I'd make an effort.
In training for the festival?
Yeah, in training, yeah. Get myself, I can actually do the buttons up, which is for the first time in about a year and a half.
All 5 days you're going. We've caught you fresh as well.
5 days, don't get carried away.
Oh, yeah, well, you're going to be there 5 days, aren't you? Because we're doing Good Morning Cheltenham with DJ on the way. David Jennings comes over from Ireland.
That is very true, yeah. I'm going to be getting out of there on Friday morning, though.
Okay. In one piece, or?
Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be behaving myself down there, and then the day to go on it is on the Friday when I get back.
He's a different man, Cheltenham week. I've seen him in action.
He's literally in training for it. Great to have you over, DJ. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, great to be here. Looking forward to it.
The sign that you're here, last year this was all done remotely, wasn't it? Yeah. The haircuts were a lot bigger.
Yeah.
It's gone well, isn't it?
It's great, yeah. It's 2 years ago we sat in this studio, the three of us, didn't we? Little did we know what lay ahead in the week afterwards. Yeah, it was a horrible year last year. I hate watching it from home, so looking forward to getting back over there.
And Tom's with us as well, Price-Wise Supremo. A good year so far for you. Everyone's lauding you everywhere I go. People want to buy you drinks. We've managed to get you in. Maybe we could buy you one afterwards.
They might be wanting to buy one. They haven't actually done it.
No, Tom, great to have you with us.
Don't leave the house, that's why.
Yeah, he never comes
I
out.
walk my dog, I assure you.
Marvellous. Listen, we're going to go through every single day. We're going to look at all the championship races and then we'll see what the guys think about the handicap. Because of all the shows that we do now, guys, people have been listening to you perhaps more than normal, haven't they? But here we are a week before the slowest week of the year. How do we play it now? For anyone that's not got involved, there are punters, aren't there, that just ignore it all and take the week off work and they just want to get involved 24 hours before. So we all know what you've put up in your columns and stuff like that. Are you starting to change your mind? Weather forecasts, all that sort of stuff?
I think we always change our mind. You start looking at it so far in advance, you always get flashes of inspiration, don't you, when you see the final decks. I'm sure that will happen again, and we'll have a definite idea of the ground, obviously, because we don't know. It could be anything, couldn't it? I couldn't imagine it being too deep, given how dry the winter's been. But if you get that rain at the wrong time, then it's going to be very soft. So, just go in again with have a fresh look. Forget about all your anti-post race. Look at every race on its merits.
Yeah, check out that ultimate guide you can see on the table as well. Let's get Will to put the table up there. You can see Tom Park and Andrew Pennington done a great job there. If you've not got it, why not? I don't want to mention 23.5, but are we thinking that it's going to... How many winners are the Brits going to have? You've got a very specific idea, haven't you?
Yeah, I said 10. I mean, that's I was asked to obviously put up a selection for every race in that ultimate guide, and when I worked it out, it was 10.
So double.
Yeah, I think we can get 10. I think we can get 10. I think the thing is we have no strength in depth, so we can't afford to lose horses.
It's also the case that the Irish have been ever so slightly harsher treated in the handicaps, and the British ever so slightly more leniently treated with the way the handicap has been dropping them. So it was 7-2 in the handicaps last year. So you never know, that might change. But I think also you've got trainers like Nicky Henderson never had a single runner in any of the novice hurdles last year, did he? He's got a team. So
it's like you should be sitting here, Kills, because that's a brilliant link for the first race of the day, the Supreme, where Nicky does look to hold the key. Tom, come to you on this. We've been used to Supremes with 9-2 the field. No one knows what's going to win since Classical Dream, if you like, when he made all. This is a completely different sort of kettle of fish, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous race if they all turn up, but like we're going to probably repeat a few times, we don't know what's going to turn up.
No, man.
That's the problem. One thing I'd say about Nicky Henderson, he is having a shocking run. No one's mentioned it. When Paul Nichols was having a terrible run, everyone's in the paper all the time. He's like 4% or something.
In case he's just not running his
It's impossible. It's impossible. They're finishing pulled up. But look, I'm a big detractor of trainer form, because as soon as you spot it, they have a winner and then it's out the window. So I'm not worried about it. But
I was a bit surprised you led with that one, actually.
Exactly, but it is worth pointing out, because I just find it so frustrating that we pick on one trainer and then forget the others. So he's having a bad run. But
he's had pelters all year, Nicky. He didn't run Shishkin, did he? And now Shishkin's come out, we'll get to him. Right, Constitution Hill, John Bond for Nicky. Is this going to be 1-0 to the Brits?
Oh, that's a tricky one. And obviously, I'm a big Sir Gerhard fan, but I don't know where he's going to run. I mean, if he was running here, I'd be very keen on him winning the Supreme. He's flat-bred, basically. He's by Jeremy out of a authorised mare. Everything points to him. He's won 2 Grade 1s over 2 miles. If they're going to go up in trip, good luck to them. But that's where I would run him. If he ran, I'd be with him. If not, I think Constitution Hill will win.
Yeah, OK, DJ, the jumping could have been better at Leopardstown, couldn't it? But seemingly it was a very good time. He looks the part. He's won the champion bumper. He's got the Cheltenham tick, so no problems with the hill.
Yeah, like the time was the thing that came out of Leopardstown. Visually, it wasn't that impressive. And what he did from the last of the line was impressive. The time was impressive. He's a very good horse. I think he'll go for the Ballymore. I've no inside info. I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll run Dysart Dynamo in the Supreme and run Sir Gerhard in the Ballymore. And I think Constitution Hill will win the Supreme. He hasn't got the form that Sir Gerhard has by winning the Champion Bumper, but what he has got is a serious turn of foot, and he's relaxed. He's exactly what you want in a Supreme horse, in that you can switch him off, he'll handle the occasion, and the only obvious negative is that he hasn't gone left-handed and he hasn't really ran in a proper race yet. But I think he's very good. I was impressed by what he did, especially first time out when he annihilated Might Eye, who I think is a good horse. And talking to Barry Garrity yesterday, he obviously hopes that he's going to be the real deal because he obviously sold him. But I think he is. I think he's very good. I think it'll be 1-0 to Britain after the opener.
Okay, what wins, Kills?
I'm a Constitution Hill fan now. I mean, I was, and then I decided that one of the Irish might actually be better. And it's funny, I tipped Sir Gerhard in the Cheltenham Guide, the book that we did, and in that I ended up tipping Dysart Dynamo because...
First mention of?
Because I got the impression back then when that was coming out that Sir Gerhard was going for the Ballymore. Then it seemed to flip-flop. I've got no idea. I think there's certainly better betting races to be had. I'd like to see Constitution Hill win. I think one of the Irish will. But if I owned either of the two Irish ones, I'd be saying let's go to the Ballymore, because the one certainty there is whichever one does is going to be a hell of a lot shorter price for that than they are for this.
It's a proper good race, isn't it? No mention of Mighty Potter. No mention of John Bon yet. Tom, if there's one that might come in the market that you're looking at on the day, who could it be? I thought Mighty Potter might be a price.
See, there's going to be this market's in total flux, isn't it? Because it's going to be totally different come the day, because there'll be probably maybe one, maybe two of them won't be there. So, of the outsiders, I think Kilcrut could run a big race. I think Kilcrut could run.
He's 6-1.
He's halved in price in the last fortnight.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Shades of Champagne Fever. A little bit shades of hard, just come right.
Get him under suit, wouldn't he? Because he looks like he wants maybe a little bit.
I was thinking the other day, I think if Nicky Henderson's sitting there, the one horse he wants to run is Dysart Dynamo.
Just so he can get
fizzy,
so he can get a lead. Yeah. If I was in his thing, I'd be praying that Willie runs him and not the other two, because I think the other two.
You never know what
I don't fancy him at all.
You never know what they're going to do, because the thing about your novice and maiden hurdles in Ireland, they all go from the front.
Exactly.
The ones that are any good. The rest of them are just buried out the back looking for a handicap mark.
Looks like Patrick is going to ride Kilcrot as well.
He is going to ride Kilcrot.
It's going to be exciting, isn't it? Listen, I told you Racing Post Royalty was in here. We've done a bit on the Supreme, but it's that sort of race. Let's move on to the Arkle then. First race over the fences. This was a division that looked at the taking for Fernie Hollow. We know he's not here. Edwardstone finds him at the front of the market now. Blue Lord, Riviera de Tel. Tom, soft race?
No soft races at Cheltenham. I think Edwardstone's been outstanding. He's done, he's such a cliche, done nothing wrong, but he has. I mean, he's been really impressive in his jumping, his finishing. People say he wasn't a great herder. He's a pretty good one. He was 150 rated, and he was pulling too hard last year. He's now a totally different horse to me. I did sort of an analysis of him versus Shishkin when they both ran at Kempton, and he wasn't far behind. Now, Shishkin might not have been his best that day, but we're talking, a superstar. And if it's not a great race, as everyone seems to think it is, and I think he's got a massive chance. I will throw a word out for the mare Magic Days, not Riviera de Tel. Magic Days, who was pulled like a Mustang when she was second to Tell Me Something Girl last year in the mare's hurdle. She was electric at Cork 2 starts ago. She didn't jump very well the next time, but she's been kept back for this race. I think she'll go well. I think she's the danger to Edwardstone. In
a normal year, it's a cut-up race, isn't it? And we get a very short price favourite. When you try and find the favourite in the Arkle, they tend to get turned over. Edwardstone wouldn't be a typical Arkle winner. He's an 8-year-old, first and foremost, sizing Europe, the last one to do that. He's a second season novice, even though he didn't get very far in his one run. And he wasn't the best of them over hurdles. Blue Lord?
I fancy Blue Lord for this before Leopardstown, and I can't have him for this after Leopardstown. I thought he was lucky to win. I don't think the Irish are great here. I think maybe something like St. Sam might end up being the best Irish contender, because I thought he ran well in the feet last time. Magic Days, as Tom said, he's been a buzz horse on the preview circuit. There's a few Shrewdies fancying Magic Days, including the man to my left.
Yeah. Okay, let's get tips for the Arkle time then. Tom, Edwardstone all the way?
I hope Edwardstone wins. I will be on Magic Days.
All right, okay, a flyer then.
Edwardstone, yeah.
Edwardstone all the way. And St. Sam?
1-0 to Ireland, St Sam.
2-0 it could be, couldn't it, after this? And if that's the case...
1-0 after the Arkle. You're good at maths anyway, kids.
It's going to be a dead heat between Dynamo and Constitution Hill, obviously.
Well recovered.
If they do win the first two races, they being the Irish, then they're going to see all sorts of price crashes in the ultimate, a first of the handicaps. Haven't won this since 2006 when...
Dundura.
Thank God Dave said that, out the way. Tom, again, people, this is the bit, isn't it? I mean, so many horses were entered in the handicaps, the website crashed. We had to wait the next day. You wait until the very last minute, do you, before...
Well, look, I've had a look at all the handicaps, and if there's one that stands out or one that's entered maybe just in one race, I might have a few quid on, but there's so many. I mean, with the Kim Muir around now being, you know, the Kim Muir used to be a sort of one of the lesser races, and it'd be
consolation ultimate, yeah.
Exactly. And now they're all entered in the well, a lot of them are entered in the Kim Muir as well. So it's once again, it's one of those races that are really hard. I think Death Duty will go here, and he's probably, I think he's been the one everyone's been talking about on the preview night circle. I think he's well handicapped even in England on his Irish form. So, but he's an 11-year-old now, mind you. Having said that, we had an 11-year-old win it last year. So I did a thing the other day trying to work out whether it was good to back old horses, and if you back them the last 3 years, you'd make a fortune.
Vintage Clouds blew up at a race last year.
Exactly.
Didn't it, with the stats,
and then you had Croco Bay, was a 12-year-old one at 66. It came to pass, won the thing at 66 to 1. So you'd have made a fortune back in old horses. So I'm not against him, but I just don't really like him as a horse. So I'll be looking elsewhere. I'll be looking for novices. I like novices in handicaps, and I thought Fantastic Ass was a type of horse that could go well.
For Imperial Alcazar, sorry to mention this. This is we all do this, don't we? In previous years, we have horses that we jump off. Was that the nap of the festival? Yeah.
Oh, it was, and if it was ran again, say he got injured, and that's what people don't realise when you give them tips. Something like that can happen. He was struck into, so he didn't give us true running. So,
but he's come back, hasn't he?
He looked
third
very
time
good last
lucky.
time. It's going to be interesting to see what race they run him in again, because he has the option of going for the plate as well. I would say this is probably the right race for him.
He won 5-2, isn't he?
Yeah.
He won't run in this, will he?
Yeah,
he'll go back.
The plate, didn't he?
He said the
Yeah, he said the plate,
Okay.
and he's up. You know, he's up, and it's similar with Does He Know, who's obviously by all accounts an absolute headbanger. And the preliminaries are going to be interesting with him. He's a good horse, and if he does get into a good rhythm under Bassi, he's got a chance. The one Irish horse in the handicap chases that's very well handicapped is Schoolboy Hours, who was left alone by the British handicapper. And I did a preview with Sean Flanagan, and I was fancying him for the Kim Muir, and I tipped him in the Cheltenham guide for the Kim Muir. So I was like, oh, will he run there? Will Derek O'Connor ride? And Sean was like, no, I think he'll run in this, and I think he might ride him. So if he does go here, we have a terrible record, obviously. 2005 was the last winner in the race, but bad news. I think Schoolboy Hours is a massive chance here for Ireland. I think Ireland actually have a stronger team in this race. We usually don't even have runners in it. This year we've got loads of runners, and I think off 1-4-2, I think Schoolboy Hours well handicapped.
It was one of our 5 wins last year, wasn't it? Of course. Oh, I'll give you a stat in this, Kills. 7 of the last 10 had made the frame in the previous outing at a handicap at the track that season. 7 of the last 10. So do we overlook? You know, the likes of Fullback, for example, for Gary Moore. I think he's got a cracking chance.
Yeah, I like
Front-running chaser.
You know, I like Fullback. I just wonder whether in a massive field like that he'll jump quite well enough, because he can make a mistake. But then plenty of them can. I mean, if you said, what was it, Does He Know? Did you see the way he jumped a couple of fences at Ascot? He does that in a big field at Cheltenham. He's got no chance. Not to mention the fact that the Ascot meeting was run on dreadful ground.
He jumped all right around there behind 3.
He jumped. You know, he jumped really well at times at Ascot, but he can't get away with making the sort of mistakes he did make.
Yeah, he's cracked, yeah.
You know, so it's it's a difficult one. Listen, it hasn't, like you said, 2006, but I mean the two horses that I came down are both Irish.
Go on.
I like Fleur, who beat Frontal Assault and would have done more easily 2 starts ago if he hadn't jumped like a bag of hammers, as the commentator said. That was that race. But he did exactly the same thing at the next time out behind Death Duty as well. So, I mean, he's obviously got a mistake in him too, but he was closing again at the finish. I think he's one of the ones who's been actually more harshly treated in Britain than in Ireland, with, I think, a £6 rise. But I do think he's going the right way, and he's only 7. And the other one's Noble Yates, who chased home Ahoy Senor. I've been keeping an eye on Noble Yates for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I think that was easily the best race he has run.
They had to run him at Wetherby to get qualified or something, didn't they? Because
and he's you know, he was just quite eye-catching in that race. But put it this way, I'd say his margin ahead of the other two, should have been a lot further.
I was all over him until he went to those colours, the Whaley Cones, because you just know that they just want to go over the birch, don't they? They just want to go over the national fences. So it's weird, but it's put me off.
Some bit of business by Paul Byrne, our old colleague, wasn't it?
Absolutely,
Shrewdest man I know.
He's got a couple others running. Let's move on then. That's the ultimate bit of a headache. Unlike the Champion Hurdle, we're going to give this a bit of shrift, aren't we? This is now. Tom, will come to you again on this. People weren't that convinced by Honeysuckle, despite the fact that she thrashed them in the Irish Champion. There's a little bit of...
I mean, I agree. I don't think that was anywhere near her best performance, but don't think you were expecting her best performance, were you? I mean, it's a trial for the champion hurdle itself. She probably didn't have to be anywhere near her best to win. She still went clear in a matter of strides. It's really hard to see her being beaten.
What does Price-Wise do with this race then?
He leaves it.
Right.
He almost certainly leaves it.
Has a little line at the top and see you later.
You leave it, I think, because where's the value elsewhere? You know, it's appreciated. It's what, 4-1 now, or you know, it's not like he's raging to be backed, is it? And then you know, the T-Hoo-Poos and all those sort of ones, they're getting plenty short enough on actually what they've done. I can't see her being beaten really. I think she'll win, and therefore, if there was an alternative, I'd definitely be looking at it.
Because people will be looking at Paddies without markets and stuff like that when they DJ. That's just something that you probably quite like to do now and then, is it?
Yeah, I agree with Tom. I think Honeysuckle will win. I think she'll probably win comfortably. It's that 2 out to the last. That's the new Honeysuckle. That's where she makes her move. That's where she wins her races. And Rachel can kind of afford to ease into the last and not ask for a biggie. And you know, she just knows how to win easily now. As regards betting without and an each way alternative, I think Zana here is the one. He's going to wear cheek pieces for the first time. He was a short price favourite for last year's Triumph Hurdle. He made a mistake, a really bad mistake at the first, which is unlike him because he's a good jumper in the Irish Champion Hurdle. He was still only beaten 6.5 lengths. He does need further, but it's going to be a strong run Champion Hurdle. He's cheek pieces for the first time. He's the one that's going to be staying. I think he'll finish in the 3, and I think he's probably the one that's a little bit overpriced.
The Leopardstown 1-2 then. Kills, we did the big jump off, didn't we, back in October, and you said if there's one, off my cap to that, I can't remember what price she was, Honeysuckle at the time, but we thought she would be the one that looked the value favourite.
Yeah,
She's
man,
got 2s on at the minute.
I've forgotten what we said there.
Not what you said yesterday. I don't know what you said back then.
Exactly. Are you in the room?
Tommy's Oscar or something.
What did I
jeez.
Yeah.
Was she 7-4 or something like that at the start of the season? I can't remember.
I mean, she's the one, you knew she was going to get shot. There didn't look to be anything obvious, and obviously Appreciate It at that stage was going to go over fences. But I mean, what do we know about Appreciate It, other than that he wasn't ready to go over fences, he wasn't ready for the Irish Champion Hurdle. I mean, I'm the ultimate cynic anyway. I mean, I won't believe he lines up until he lines up. It's as simple as that.
Camp, though,
I was really impressed with T-Hoo-Poo, though. I really was impressed with him. I thought he was just a massive improvement on what he'd done before, and almost in the mould of Espoir Dallin, the way he just went through that race and went away from him. If there are any chinks in her, he might find them, but I mean, she's 14 out of 14, so I mean, nobody else has found them. And I thought she was tired at the end of that race last time, but she was like Tom said, it was getting ready for this race. She can afford to be undercooked and still win an Irish Champion Hurdle by 6.5 lengths.
She deserves the crowd, didn't she, this time? Having won, of course, without. I mean, so. Right, that's the champion. Headache race. Let's go to the Mayor's Hurdle then, and as we've just saying, as we've done a little re-edit and gone back to do this, you can now tell us what you absolutely love in this, Keels.
Well, Dave just confirmed to me earlier on that Burning Victory is going to run here, and I think she's got a massive chance. You just need to remember that. I mean, look at her flat form. She was, 2 lengths down on Buzz in the Says, giving him a couple of pounds, and she'd won a couple of handicaps in France on the flat before then. And she's come and run an absolute career best last time, beating Queen's Brook. She's done it easily. She's just peaking very much at the right time. Now, obviously, she's already won a Triumph Hurdle, and we know that she was lucky because Gosham was way up at the time. But when you look back at that race, I mean, she was ahead of Aspire Tower and All Mankind, so it wasn't a bad race in behind either. I think she's the one to beat. She's nowhere near favourite. Don't quite work out why Tell Me Something Girl was favourite. She hasn't won a race since. Obviously, she'd be in prime for this, but there'll be a bit different result this time, and I think Burning Victory's a cracking price.
Ross Briley, we have in this studio loads of times. He's Nat, tell me something, girl. I think he's all over. She was an eye catcher last time, wasn't she?
Yeah, I agree with one of Keel's points and completely disagree with the other. I do think Tell Me Something Girl deserves to be favoured. That runner at Leopardstown at Christmas, given weight to Royal Kahala and Heaven Help Us, who was a brilliant winner of the Coral Cup. That was a cracking run. She's too short though, but she does deserve to be favoured. I'm kind of with Keels and Burning Victory. She was my long-term fancy for the race. We were talking about earlier on a bag of hammers and Fleur. She has jumped like about 6 bags of hammers so far in her career. Up until last time, her jumping had been terrible, absolutely terrible. But last time there was more sign of kind of that she was enjoying her jumping. She was getting higher at her hurdles. And I was impressed for 3/4 of what she did at Punchestown. The last quarter I wasn't overly impressed with. I thought Queensbrook was closing her down. And I know the Elliott camp are convinced that there's a lot to work on with Queensbrook. They are really sweet on her. But class-wise, I do think that Burning Victory is more class than Queensbrook. And she's a 7-1 shot with Paddy Power. I think that's a little bit too big, as Keel said. So a tentative vote for Burning Victory for me as well.
Tom had a look at this.
Yeah. In one of my anti-post pieces, I went for Burning Victory, so I'm glad the boys, in agreement there. I think she'll run. I don't think her jumping is anywhere near as bad as DJ's made out. She ran in the Galway hurdle and some 3-mile handicap where she was in, and it's hard to jump when you're buried in those races. I thought she was fine in the Triumph hurdle. I thought she was fine against Classical Dream, and I thought she was fine last time. So I'm not worried about her jumping. What I am worried about is her finishing effort last time. I thought that was a little bit disappointing. Now, I know there's excuse. I mean, Willie Mullins said that she needed the run a bit, and she'll improve for that. So that could be all a fallacy. Thought her stablemate Stormy Island would run well. I really did. I just thought that course form.
The international.
Yeah, the international. Was it the Relkeel or the international? One of those.
International, wasn't it? I think.
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day, whatever it's called.
Relkeel, I think.
Relkeel.
All right, there we go. I've done it again.
2 out of 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Relkeel.
Yeah, I thought that was solid form. I know,
She wouldn't have won though, would she?
I thought it would have been close. But
Brewing
putting
Up
up
a
a
Storm
Storm's a
that fell,
decent
wasn't it?
horse. I mean,
Yeah,
this is back in her own sex group, isn't it? I thought she might run well, but I'm hoping Burning Victory wins.
All right, okay. What about the Fred Winter? Let's have a look at this race.
Boodles.
Irish it's a Fred Winter. Oh, it's Boodles Fred Winter.
Okay, well,
Let's not even go into that.
I'll get the sponsor's
names.
product, and you can keep with Fred
exactly.
Winter.
Absolutely. This is Irish on a 5-time here. Are they going to go 6 in a row, Dave?
Well, sure, look, this is the one of life's great mysteries. How did Gaelic Warrior get a mark of 129? The British handicapper is multiplying it by 2 instead of 2.2. Their French mark, I think he had 63 kilos in France, and they worked it out at 129. I know the Mullins camp couldn't believe this. They don't think there's much between him and Vautour, I was going to say, Vauban.
It's catching.
Yeah. So if that's the case, he's an absolute certainty. But you just have to approach this race, I think, just pretend he's not in the field. Just forget about him, pretend he's not in the field. He's too short and he could blow out. So with that in mind, the tide turns will be one of my strongest fancies of the week. This is your perfect Gordon Elliott, Fred Winter / Boodles type horse. He ran in open company last time against T. Hoopoos, shaped like the second best horse in the race. He's ran in the Grade 1 as well, and he's won his maiden hurdle where he beat HMSC horse. He's rated 137. He's definitely got probably 6, 7, 8 pound to play rounded off that mark. He's a mid-140s horse, I'd say. It's just a case of if Gaelic Warrior is the horse that they think he is in Clyde Sutton. If he is, he wins, obviously. But look, just bet without him and just back to tide turns. The tide turns is guaranteed to finish in the first 3, I think.
One race that Mullins hasn't won yet, the Boodles / Fred Winter.
Yeah, he's actually got a really poor strike rate with 4-year-olds, but it doesn't matter.
2 from 56.
It doesn't matter if this horse is this good. And by all accounts, I mean, they were not just delighted, but
Come on,
astonished that he got, said we were hoping that, probably Joe Chambers, Richie's racing manager, went on with Nick Luck, didn't he? So we were hoping he'd honour the mark of 139. And
we've been treating them harshly, apparently.
He's got £10 lower, and for that reason alone, I haven't actually gone too deep into the race because I just think he'd probably win. And I'm not, 4-year-olds, so many different strands of form, and all that. You're all just talking about your second raters as opposed to the Triumph horses. And I just thought I'm not that interested anymore, so I'm leaving it. I'm not going to back a 5-2 shot in a 24-runner handicap. I know that much, but it's sort of lessened my appeal to get stuck into the race.
Is this unsinkable boxer time, Tom, do you think, with this horse?
Look, not for me. I'm the same as Keels. You can do what you like. I've never seen the horse. I've never heard of him until about 3 weeks ago. Now all of a sudden you're telling me to back him at 9-4 for a 24-runner 4-year-old handicap. It's not for me. It's not for me. But look, the thing about the race is that when the weights came out, they were worried he wasn't going to get in. And now he's like number 13 or 14. It's not a strong race.
Exactly.
It's really not a strong race.
Back to the time when that was it What a Charm?
What a Charm one, 100. Yeah.
His first Cheltenham winner.
Yeah, JP's got one, hasn't he?
Yeah, I like Brazil a bit. I thought he was impressive the other day. Where was it? Navan? Nace? Nace. I thought he was really good the other day. He was clearly an eye catcher. He was a totally different horse from the front. I'm not sure that they would have wanted to win that race by so far and then end up with 137 or something, whatever he's got, and having to give £8 to Gaelic Warrior. But I like the horse. I like the horse a lot. He was decent for Aidan O'Brien. He's by Galileo. He'll run up that hill, no problem. So, he might be the danger.
He does look like he's coming into it at a peak, doesn't he? If they win all the races, the Irish, and I know we keep talking about this, what sort of price could Gaelic Warrior go off? It could be silly, because you know what the Tuesday's like with the multiples, right? It's the day for the multiples, isn't it? And if he goes and wins, what price will Statler be, or Run Wild Fred, in the National Hunt Challenge Chase, DJ?
Yeah, we'll win this anyway. That's one thing I'd be pretty sure of. We've got this is one race that will be coming home. I think that Statler is not the type you want for the race. He doesn't have the experience, and you can pick holes in everything. But he's by far the best horse in the race. He is seriously talented. He is seriously talented. I know you're going to disagree. You're going to disagree. Fair enough, okay? What he did...
Did you not see the Albert Bartlett last year?
I did, yeah.
And you think he's miles better than Vanillier,
I do. I think he's a classier horse than Vanillier. But your Vanillier this year, he might be a different horse at Cheltenham, Tom Vanillier, but he hasn't looked a complete natural to me, I have to say, Vanillier.
No, absolutely. But you can't argue that he did beat him 15 lengths on the bridle last year.
I always thought Statler was going to make a better chaser. And that form in Nace, his strong form beating Farouk Delaine, I thought he showed more grit and determination. He's the type of horse that Keels and Tom hate, and they're going to butcher me for this. And he's too short of a price, I get that. But he's got so much class. Like, if he runs in the Brown Advisory, he's probably a 5-1 shot. And I could see him running well. He's got that type of class. He's going to be the one that's on the bridle turning in. And I thought last time it made a man of him at Nace. Definitely the best horse in the race talent-wise, I think. And I think he'll win.
Favourites have got an awful record in this race, haven't they? Back in Focus, I think, was the last one to do it for Willie Mullins. I'll be taking on Statler. He's one of my lays of the week. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I'm not a great fan. I did a preview the other night, and the vibes about Statler were bad. And Patrick Mullins was sitting away, and we asked for our naps of the day. He didn't even mention Statler. So I'm against him. I'm also against Run Wild Fred. I think he's running 10 or 11 chases. He's won one of them.
Winner. We haven't seen him much.
He's won one of them. He stays well, and he's obviously got some good form. But he's won one race. That's plenty. I know Dave doesn't like Vanillier's jumping. I thought we might see a totally different horse. I'm a huge Gavin Cromwell Cheltenham fan. He's done me loads of good turns over the years, and I just think we're going to see a different horse. Got Derek O'Connor on.
He tore it apart last year, didn't he, when he went there?
Totally different class to everything he ran against. Yeah. You're banking on him jumping round, but you're getting double the price over a horse that he's beaten around the track, by 20 lengths. So I like him. And the other one is, I think Keels might be on this as well, is Rebecca Curtis's horse. I know he said that the Irish were going to win this. I don't think he actually believes it, because I think Pat's Fancy's got a decent chance.
As I said, they had all the ones at the front of the betting. They're going to win the Fred Winter, that's what I meant. But yeah, my worry with Vanillier is he's a horse that can slow into a fence, and that's not what you want with a front runner. Because when he does, he's just going to lose. If he does that, he's going to lose length.
Yeah, it's just Derek O'Connor and back.
It might be.
How much, will other jockeys, they're everything in this race, right? But you can see some kooky results, can't you, with the riders?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah. But I mean, I like Pat's Fancy. I think he's an out-and-out stayer.
Very interesting to see rides in Pat's Fancy, isn't it? Because
Barry O'Neill.
Okay, because Curtis has got a good line, haven't they?
Yeah.
Barry is deadly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
like him a lot.
She's won the race before, obviously with T for Two, and
she's a 5-time winner, Rebecca.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's had Liz Nagar.
3, I'd say. T for 3.
T for
3.
T for 2.
Albert Bartlett.
T for 3. Yeah.
Hopeless.
Are you Orton in disguise?
Now we are warming up, aren't we? Now we are warming up. Okay.
That's a bad night's kip last night. No, I mean, he's just a really.
When do
really
you ever have a
Scottish
good
player.
night's kip, I would wager?
That is true. That is true.
Last year's form's worked out sensationally well, hasn't it? You know, and this has obviously become a sexier race. So, bet.
I've backed 2, Vanillier and Pat's Fancy.
Yeah, okay. DJ?
Statler.
Pat's Fancy?
That's fancy.
All right, okay. That is day one wrap. Can we get a best bet on the first day, Keels? One that you are absolutely deep on.
Oh my God!
Come on, this is what you do on these previews. You're supposed to be the pro here, aren't you?
Go so early, don't you? Saint Sam, there you go. In the Arkle.
That's it. We got one out of him.
Oh, the tie turns in the Boodles.
No, hang on, Burning Victory.
Make your mind up, man.
Miles better bet.
There's a double.
Burning Victory, what did you say?
The tie turns in the Boodles.
Okay, that leaves me free for the Arkle and Magic Days then.
Oh, okay. All right. That is day one done.
Hi, I'm Racing Post editor Tom Kerr, and my best bet for the Cheltenham Festival is Constitution Hill in the Supreme Novices. He's won twice this season at Sandown, looking in class act in the process, and the form of both those races has worked out well. So I think he's going to get the festival off to a winning start for the Brits, Nicky Henderson, albeit I'm not sure how many more we'll have in the following 27 races. Enjoy the festival.
Hi there, I'm Keith Melrose, Racing Post betting editor. And my bet at the Cheltenham Festival 2022 is Corach Rambler in the Ultima, the 250 on day one, Tuesday. This horse is getting in of 140, which is £12 lower than Does He Know, one of the favourites for the race. There isn't that much between them. If you watch the Reynolds-Down back, Corach Rambler was set to give him a mighty race when he came down 5 out in that race, having been sent off favourite. He's essentially a course and distance winner. It was on the new course, this one's on the old, but it was over the same similar course and distance, so he'll handle the track. He's definitely enough a good mark, and he's got no other entries.
Generally speaking, there are far easier races at the festival to try and solve than the Pertemps Handicap Hurdle, which is the second race on the Thursday, but I think I might have one this year. Alaphilippe finished 5th, really eye-catching 5th in a qualifier for this at Warwick in January behind Sporting John. Once he was headed by the winner after the last, he wasn't given a hard time. And I go back to his 5th in the Albert Bartlett at last year's festival, really good form. I just suspect that Fergal O'Brien will have this horse absolutely spot on, and I think Alaphilippe is a really good bet.
Few horses have got a better Cheltenham Festival record than Segal de Belay. The dual Pertemps winner was second last season in the Stayers Hurdle, but very shrewdly, Gordon Elliott is bringing him back to the Pertemps this year. He's run to Racing Post ratings in the mid-160s the last 2 seasons, but on the Thursday Festival week he's rated 156 with an excellent £7 claiming amateur on his back, making his burden a bit easier. I think he's got a massive chance. So for me, Segal de Belay in the Pertemps final.
My best bet for the Cheltenham Festival is Vauban, who runs in the Triumph Hurdle. He was wildly impressive when winning last time out at Leopardstown, easily beating Fildor. He had an impressive subsequent winner called Akara Lenin behind. I think he's an absolute superstar. That's Vauban in the Triumph Hurdle.
Robbie Wilder's anti-postman here. My best bet for the Cheltenham Festival is Queensbrook in the Mares Hurdle. Really liked her last start behind Burning Victory in the Quevega Mares Hurdle at Punchestown. That race has been a good trial to the mares in recent years. And she meets Burning Victory on £3 better terms. Was reported to have had a whole lot going into the race. Always takes a run to get right. She's got course form as well. She was third in the Champion Bumper a couple of years ago behind Fernie Hollow and Appreciate It. And I think she's entitled to go very well in the mares.
All right, okay, let's have a look at the Wednesday. Everyone having a good time? Let's ramp it up a little bit. Always the first day everyone goes over. We've got all sorts of clocks in here and everything, haven't we? We've definitely gone over by about 10
for
minutes.
me.
But yeah, you're all right, DJ. It's so far so good. But the Ballymore, the first race, one of the favourite races for punters every year because you see a star in it. It's a disaster this year, isn't it? We only know that Ginto amongst them is probably going to run for the Morans and the Elliott team. Tom, help us out here.
Well, it's hard, isn't it? Because, as we say, with the Supreme, we don't know what's running. I mean, whichever one Mullins runs will be a very short price favourite for this, I would imagine.
I think if Dysart settled better, he's a certainty to run here. And Sir Gerhardt looks to me like the Supreme. He's a 7-year-old. We haven't mentioned that, have we? No 7-year-old since French Ollie has come and done this. And lots have tried since. Appreciate It obviously blew that up in the Supreme last year. But I don't know. This is tough. I'd be very strong at Ginto. I know he's running.
We save older horses for bumpers these days, so you end up with a lot more older novice hurdlers these days. And I think you'll find that, I wouldn't be saying, 7-year-olds can't win
it's
this
a
too
silly
often
stat, you
because
reckon?
It'll turn into a silly stat because it's the way we go, because we have these silly graded bumpers all the time. that jumpers are being kept to the flat for too long.
You're getting political now.
So yeah, I can't stand them, can I? So, but there you go. But so yeah, I certainly wouldn't worry about that. I do think whichever one of them runs wins. And like I said, if I was owner of either one, I'd say, can we go there, please? So I don't have to take on John Bon and Constitution Hill.
Is there any chance that John Bon might still step up? According to the camp, no. But
well, I mean, Nicky Henderson has said from start to finish, and I thought he'd change his mind too. But that's where they're going, and he's not said anything else. I mean, I always thought John Bon was way behind, and he does look. I mean, it looks to me like I'd be if I was going to have an anti-post bet, if you say, hey, give me a horse to back at a novice chase next year, it would be him for the Turners. So I think he wants that trip.
Amazing that he's not won this JP since Isterbrook, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course Nicky Henderson hasn't won that race either.
Yeah, all right, okay.
But I think I think that'll win it. I do think the Nichols thing is pretty good.
Stage Star.
I do think he's pretty good. But again, he'll probably be short of experience, and the two Mullins horses look very good. Whichever one of them runs, I think will win.
One historical tip you've got to have is you've got to start it in Irish points or bumpers, and Stage Star didn't do that. Are you in the same camp then? Whichever one, and it's not very helpful for everyone out there, is it? But
no, I wouldn't. If Sir Gerhard ran, I think he'd win. If Dysart Dynamo runs, I'm not quite sure he'd quite see this out the way.
You don't think Ginto's in that league then?
No, I don't. I think ability-wise over this trip, I think Sir Gerhard is the right horse for this race. But you don't know what's going to happen. So this is a show that we're doing the Sunday, 10 days before the race.
Yeah.
And the two horses I'd be interested in. The first is Journey With Me, who's going to run here, and I think he was better. Better than he looked last time. They absolutely crawled.
Tractor have just been sounded.
They crawled to try and get him beaten. They crawled.
Yeah,
it was a terrible race. He should have won.
He was still crawling at the line. That's the problem.
At the line, but he was crawling faster.
Fast horses win this race, Tom, don't they? So I don't know.
He was crawling.
Champion hurdlers win this race, don't they?
They do. He was crawling, obviously, yeah, but he was crawling faster than the rest of them. I think he'd run well. I don't think he'd beat Sir Gerhard, but I think he'd run well. And one at a massive price. That's way too big of a price. He worked really well at Navan on Saturday evening. It's What Do You Want? Who beat Ginto in a bumper and didn't get a fantastic. Darrow O'Keefe is a terrific jockey. Didn't get a great ride in the.
They fancied him to beat him last time, didn't they? If they'd have got a third run into that, I guarantee that would have been their Martin Pipe horse.
Yeah, maybe
100%.
so. He's a good horse though, and
he is a good horse.
They backed him into 2-1 from a morning price of 4s and 5s at Naas.
He jumped beautifully, just didn't see it out.
25-1 Paddy Perry go off by 12.
That's interesting. Yeah, he's a good horse. I think. Tom, is this going to be a Bob Oninger type performance if Dysart or Sir Gerhard?
I'm not a Dysart fan at all. I don't like horses that don't settle. Full stop. So he can run where he likes. He won't.
He's unbeaten, isn't he?
He won't be carrying any of my cash.
You're a big fan of my 10 or yours?
No, he never won, did he? He never won. Did he win at Cheltenham?
This thing's
you're a big
than
fan of him, though.
Well, I'm not especially, as I remember.
Did you put Journey With Me up earlier in the season?
I did, and that was after. I'm sort of half in these boys' camps because when he won at Leopardstown, beating Kilcrut and Manella, I'll get the wrong Manella here.
Crooner.
It's catching, it's not just the Orton.
Yeah, but you've got to give me a break. There's Manella Kakuna and Manella Crooner.
Yeah, it's a disaster, isn't it?
Well, he beat those two, and that form is really very good, isn't it? But then, like Heel said, I don't know what happened at Naas because he didn't. I asked a few guys about this, and they said Naas is a funny track and it's hard to look good there, but he didn't look good. I mean, I think you could look better than he did.
All right, that is the Ballymore. Again, fingers on the buzzers come final decks time. As it might be for what I call the old RSA, the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, which of course it was last year. We know that Brave Man's Game is going to turn up here. And DJ, I want to come to you with this because I'm sensing another one, like Blue Lord, that you've jumped off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a massive Brave Man's Game fan, and I think he'll win the 2022 King George. I'd be pretty sure of it. I don't think this is track. Tom is going to come back at me here, I know this, but he should have finished second in last year's Ballymore. I don't care what anybody says. I fancied him to beat the two Irish horses. He got the run of the race out in front, and Gallard de Menil even passed him on the run-in. I don't think he's a strong finisher, and I think Harry Cobden is fooling us a little bit. I don't think there was as much left in the tank at Newbury when he beat Pat's Fancy or when he beat Itchy Feet at Haydock. I don't think he's a strong finisher, and I think in this race with the pace they're going to go, he is, David Mullins described it perfectly the other night in a preview that I was at, his jumping is sexual. It is beautiful to watch. It is just it's a thing of beauty watching him jump. He's the best novice I've ever seen jumping a fence, but I don't think this is his track, and I think he's one to take on because I think he's a flat track bully, and I think Cheltenham could find him out. And for me, Ahoy Senior is the one to be with here. I think this time next year, if we're sitting in these seats, I think he could be vying for favouritism in the Gold Cup. That's how good I think he is. You look back to himself at Wetherby, forget about Kempton, that's not his track, too tight. And I think he's going to take a hell of a lot of beating. Ahoy Senior.
Flat track, a lot of people are saying for him. When he won his point to point, and Charlie posted, we do a lot with in the studio, it was at Kimble, which is like a pancake. They've run him on pancake tracks, Tom, haven't they? So is he the one that might still come in the money? I mean, they're buzzing about him, aren't
Well, I hope so, because when we did our Cheltenham preview at the start, or our season preview, he was my horse to follow at the start of the season. So I'd love Ahoy Senior to win. It's just something different as well, isn't it? With the Lucender and Peter Scudamore, up there. So it would be lovely to see someone different on the Roll of Honour. I personally am worried about the. I think he jumps slightly to his right. I think the tight nature of the old course might be a bit much for him this time. The one horse we haven't mentioned, who I am convinced is going to run, is Venetia Williams' Long Press.
Now we're getting meaty because you are utterly convinced of this, aren't you?
Well, she says it in the paper. She says, I mean, the thing about the Turners is it's 2 miles 3. People think it's 2 miles 5. It's 2 miles 3 and 100 yards. She is from the Dipper to come back to the Turners is a furlong and a half. To go up is only 3 furlongs for this race. To me, he looks like a stayer rather than a speed horse. He has done all his life. All he does is finish his races. She says in the paper today she's looking at the 3 mile race. For me, he is the bet of the festival if he runs in the 3 mile race, because I think this is a bad race. Well, not a bad race. I think it's a good race, but there's reasons to take on the ones at the head of the market. And I think he's got less to prove as a jumper, at the track, at everything about it. I think he's a cracking horse. Yeah, I think he's a cracking horse. I really do.
Could this race still mean that it's a procession on the Thursday for Bob Oninger if Galloping Deschamps goes?
He could run here. Look, it's Willie Mullins. Like, I asked him 5 times at the press morning, are you definitely going for the shorter race? And he seemed pretty convinced. Now, there was no definite in there. He said, it looks like that's the way we're leaning, all those type of words. But this is Willie Mullins. Willie Mullins won't decide this until Monday morning.
Seemingly, this is the one horse of the week for Willie that wherever it runs, he just thinks it wins, doesn't he?
It seems to be, yeah, sure. He's a hell of a horse. I think he'll win this race. I don't think he'll win the Turners.
But let's move on then. A tip. Long
well,
press.
if Long Press runs, I think he'll win, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And that is a meaty change if he goes there. DJ.
Ahoy, Senior.
Ahoy, Senior.
Long Press.
Long Press 2 for the Brown Advisory. Okay, all right. Coral Cup time.
Oh, Coral Cup.
Here we go, Coral Cup time. Has anyone had a very, very good look at this? Seemingly you want fresh, unexposed horses coming into it. 130 got a run last year, so I don't know what sort of race it's become really. But DJ, you're nodding away? Yeah,
I fancied one all year for this. I fancied Caprand for Philip Hobbs and JP. Loved the run in the Greatwood. Didn't jump particularly well, but it was 2 miles and he's off 140 now. He's the Persian War winner from Cheps earlier on in the season. Loved the fact that they kept him fresh for this. He's well handicapped off 140. I think he'll take the world of beating.
Wow. Okay, Tom?
Yeah, I think he's got a good chance. I think another one of JP's got a good chance. Drop the anchor. He's got to jump better than he did.
Was that one of the biggest eye catchers of the season last time at Epstein?
Well, I don't
know. You mentioned him and I watched it back and I'm like, where is he?
I know.
He's the red cap if you're looking on your members.
I don't like horses that muddle around out the back and then finish up fast normally.
Yeah, he has been to the festival as well.
But he ran a cracker in the county hurdle last year off a higher mark. He's obviously a big handicap horse. And
he wants the trip, doesn't he?
I think he's been crying out, and it's his only entry. He could have been in the Martin Pipe. He could have been in the county. He's in this. So I think that JP's got a very strong hand in this. I agree with DJ. I also like Drop the Anchor.
All right, okay, Kills.
Yeah, Comprond. I'm all over Comprond.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, absolutely love it. That Greatwood form is pretty sensational, isn't it? I mean, obviously we've got the winner West Cork, but Tritonic was 5th, comes out and wins a big race at Ascot. Glory of Fortune is 6th. Marie's Rock is 7th, come out and won.
Don't mention him, Keels. Cormier.
Yeah, the one that we can't get right. Tom gets it right every time.
No, I got a right touch on him at Cheltenham last time, and for some reason I deserted him at Kelso. I'm back to 2nd. It's so annoying, isn't it? But he was in it.
Is he going to turn up, Cormier?
There's other winners.
In the county,
it's the grand, isn't it?
There was other winners in it. It's a really, really good thing. And the one thing that that makes me like it even more, right, is now I know the ground wasn't as soft as normal, but whenever it is at that meeting, right, the last place you want to be is on the inside, and he was on the inside all the way round. And anything else that raced on the inside, he has beaten them by absolute miles. All right, so I think he's got a massive chance. He's still 16, 18 to 1 or so.
Ooh, all right, now this is what we wanted. Okay, that is the cold cut, and I'm delighted. So our producers will be happy because we whistled through it. Champion Chase, we might whittle through this one as well, mightn't we? What was this weird drift about on Energumene? Now, he didn't turn up last year. It was one of the shocks of the whole season. We wanted the battle. We got it at Ascot. We know that. They're the two best chasers around, according to Racing Post ratings. Why the drift? You did the story, DJ.
Yeah, I think he was lame maybe earlier on in the week. Stone bruise, I think. And
that's what kept him out of the festival last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But he schooled. I was in Navan on yesterday, and he schooled, and Paul and Willie were both delighted with him. So all these horses, they're going to get scares along the way. Like, well, not all of them, obviously, but some of them will, and we won't hear about it. This we obviously heard about. There was a drift in the exchanges.
He went 20s,
He's fine now. He did 21 to 1, yeah. It's one of the most horrible jobs. Part of the jobs is ringing trainers when there's a drift. And it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're shaking. You're going, Willie, David Jennings here. Look, there's a drift in Energumene, how is he? And he said, oh, he's fine. Oh, he's fine. He was actually surprised I was asking about Energumene. He was like, oh, he's fine. Ruby rode him yesterday in work. He's fine. So obviously everything was okay.
You missed about 10 others.
Did he tell you the real one?
Yeah, I was like, who do you think I was talking about? He seems perfectly fine. He looked great at Navan on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see what Paul rides. I asked him, and a question I asked him yesterday was, you don't need to tell me, but in your head, do you know who you're riding? You don't need to tell me, just have your decision made in your head. And he said, genuinely, David, I haven't. I really don't know who I'm going to ride. It's going to depend on a lot in the next couple of days, how they both work, obviously. Shaq and Persois, I think people are harsh on Shaq and Persois. It's a very small sample size to say he doesn't travel. I know he was a beaten 8th, 13 favourite in the race last year, but he was only beaten a length and a half. Like, he didn't run terribly.
It was Tingle Creek as well, wasn't it? And it's because he's favourite, that's why they give him the stick.
Absolutely. But the way people are talking about last year's Queen Mother, it's where he was tailed off. He wasn't. He needs to be ridden differently. I still think he's a very good horse. And if you could give Willie Mullins one result for the week, it would be Shaq and Persois ending his champion chase hoodoo. I don't think he'll beat Shishkin, but I think he'll run a big race, Shaq and Persois. I think Shishkin will probably win, though.
I'd be amazed if Paul Talon didn't ride Energumene, Tom, won't you?
Yeah, I think you're right on Energumene too, myself.
Can I just say one thing? The biggest thing I took out of any preview night was David Mullins came to this race and he said Energumene is the best horse in Willie Mullins' yard. Definitely.
Shows you how good Shishkin in this. He's got the Cheltenham tick as well, hasn't he? Shishkin, he's what, 6-4 on Tom? One of the best horses you've ever seen, you said recently.
Yeah, I think he's an absolute superstar. The only thing in the back of my mind is that he had a hard race at Ascot. On that ground at Ascot, all season has been really hard work. So many horses have flopped after running at Ascot over the years. You know,
please God, that doesn't.
I know, but that's the
because he'll never run him again.
That's the only thing in the back of my mind is that when you go through the pain barrier once, will you do it again? And whatever, he probably didn't, because he picked up and went and still went to the line. But that's my thing against those two at a very short price. I thought there was. Something could pick up the pieces if that happens. I personally think Shishkin will win. I don't think that will be an issue. But I think something like an Uber Negra could finish third. I think Shishkin will win. I will play an Uber Negra each way just because I think something could pick up the pieces and he'll have the race run to suit.
Yeah, the honeysuckle Shishkin doubles, because everyone's doing it, aren't they? You know, the punters that just like to get involved for this week. So this is a very important horse.
Is he a stayer? I know he's very fast at the end of his races, but I mean, you know, if that race at Ascot had been over the champion chase trip, he would not have won because he was flat out. So, you know, he's got in his advantage is a much longer running and the fact that it's left-handed. I think he'll probably win, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion by any stretch of the imagination.
Is anyone taking on Shishkin? DJ? No. All right, so all for Shishkin, yeah?
Well, yeah, listen, we're not going to back him. I wouldn't back him.
No. All right.
You know,
loads of people.
Yeah, loads of people will.
Yeah. All right. Okay. 3 other races to look at. Cross-country chase. Come to you with this, Deji, because Tiger Roll. You've said it when he was a big price. He's now going all the way in.
He's just been the wrong price all year. It's been ridiculous. He was, like I'd say 5 weeks ago, he was 13-2. It was bonkers. Like, this is going to be the ultimate swan song. He is so superior to this lot. We've seen it last year when he went in awful form after a desperate run in the Boyne Hurdle. There was more sign of life in the Handicap Hurdle at Navan last time. They are so happy with the way he's working. I think he'll go off odds on.
You grimacing there, Kills. You're not sure about this.
Country race, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Well, Delta Work's another interesting player,
what a
isn't he?
Story of the week.
Yeah. If one horse needs the crowd after last year, it's him. It was soul
You don't
destroying.
think if Tiger Roll wins across country, he'll get the biggest reception of the week?
I'm with DJ.
Well, he might do because he's a two-time Grand National winner. Yes, but I mean, he's winning. He's
6-time Cheltenham Festival winner if he
He's
wins.
winning a rubbish race at the Cheltenham Festival.
Doesn't matter.
At the end of the day,
Any
that's
horse
what it
that
is.
wins at 6 Cheltenham
Yeah,
Festival.
that was great.
Triumph Hurdle winner, National Hunt Chase winner.
Listen, Tiger Roll's a brilliant horse. I love him. All right, but the race itself is rubbish, isn't it? It's boring as hell. Like, go and queue up for a pint because you might actually get one.
I was about to say, Tom, should we go for a drink? We can come back.
Exactly. Leave these two at it.
Like, no, I mean, I love Tiger Roll. I think he's a brilliant horse. Like, yes, I'd like to see him win. Is winning the cross-country race a big deal? No.
You will be having a bet in the race, Kills. There's no doubt in
race
that.
of all time. I don't like it at all.
Well, I used to love him because I liked to spot the difference and things like that. You could sort of see which one it was going to be. You'll be looking for a juicy one in this, won't you?
Well, I'm different from Keels. I thought it was the one race at the festival that no one ever looked at, so I quite liked it. I've had a few good times in the cross-country chase. I think the fact that Gordon Elliott's got Tiger Roll, which will start probably odds on, and Delta Work will probably start second fav, and it sort of spoils it as a betting race because they're miles better than the rest. So trying to find, when it was it ever a handicap? No, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, when it was a handicap, it was a bit of fun. Because you could find one now when it's levels weights race. I mean,
Kingswell Theatres and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, there was one of Michael Hurrigan's won it at a massive price.
Yeah.
New
story, yeah.
New story,
Adrian
yeah.
Heskins
You tipped that, didn't
Yeah,
you?
I did. Yeah, it was great fun.
Past stories.
It used to be great fun, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because it was like a handicap, and you could find one.
Yeah, exactly. So
It was a handicap.
It was a
It was a
handicap.
handicap.
Yeah.
so
There was no like about it.
they
It totally was a handicap.
So they basically ruined it. Now you get one or two class horses in it, and they plod round, go round and round in little circles
They're
in
in
the
great
middle.
form today, boys.
Yeah, no, can't have it at all.
All right, okay. That is the cross-country. Right, okay, Grand Annual. I want to come to you with this, Kills. I can't remember the last time this was on a Wednesday. Has it ever been on a Wednesday before?
Yeah, last year.
Was it? Oh, there you go. All right, okay. Oh, you can tell I was having a good day.
Yeah, Sky Pirate, who hasn't. He's not
Of course, Sky Pirate, who will look like he's going to defend his crown.
Yeah, he's not without a chance either. I mean, he's what, £7 higher, I think, something like that. But
That was your bet you'd forgotten about.
he will
pretty much.
get. Yeah, it was. Yeah, he will get what he hasn't had for the first time since. Really, a big field. But I just have a feeling that Pharaoh Bamboo has slipped under the radar because it's not realised how well he actually ran to get as close as 4 lengths to Dolos at Sandown last time because that's Dolos's race. I mean, he's got form figures in that race of 2-1-1, 2-1 now. He was running off a mark £15 lower than when he'd only just got beaten it the year before. And, probably still is capable of being a mid-150s horse. So, to come from the back when Dolos and the runner-up Gunsight Ridge racing the first 3 all the way round, beat Gunsight Ridge by the best part of 10 lengths, only gone up £1 for it, I think it could actually be a very, very well handicapped horse. Better handicap than Brave Siaska, who's the other one of Venetia Williams is in the race. So yeah, I think double figure price.
Bundoran yesterday, that was behind him, wasn't it?
Bundoran
Great
was
seeing
there.
when he won it,
Tamara
brilliant.
Muffin was obviously
Yeah.
second to Paint the
Yeah.
Dream. He was beaten out with a washing. So it is a very, very strong piece of form.
Okay, DJ.
I've liked Time White for this for a while. I think he's well handicapped off 1-4-2. Bryony rode him. We kind of got a bit lost in all the action at Christmas, but Bryony rode him to win at Doncaster, I think 4 days after Christmas. And I thought he absolutely bolted
This
up.
thing I thought was a good thing at Ascot that got as far as 1 fence.
Yeah,
and
refused.
refused,
Yeah,
yeah.
hard luck, Keels. Yeah, one next time.
You're a big fan of refusals, aren't you, Keels?
Yeah, exactly.
I would say Paul has kept him on this. I'd say he's happy enough with the rise he got, and he's kept him for this. This is one of his bullets. He's only running
He
12.
used to win all the time.
Yeah,
Grand Annual.
I think Time White. The value has gone a little bit. There was 33s a few weeks ago. He's down to about 12s and 14s now, but I think he's got a big chance. Time
Okay, all right, Tom.
Yeah, I think Tom White's got a chance. I like the one that beat him, Amarillo Sky a bit. I know he's gone up in the weights, but I don't mind that in this race. I think being sort of running up with the pace, getting clear, that's what I like about this race. He's £7 higher, I think, or maybe 8 than at Newbury, but I thought it was really impressive that day. And I just thought he just has the profile of a horse that's going to run well.
You look for sneaky horses, don't you? When you're looking at the 7 the last day, carried at least 11 starts. It goes to a classy one. That's the Grand Annual. What about the bumper then? A race that, for whatever reason, the social media just loves the bumper, don't they?
Heels is off again.
But everyone
I'll
wants...
tell you what.
Imagine having these 2 rubbish races on the same day. I mean, I wouldn't go if I didn't have to. Dear, oh
What's wrong with
dear.
this?
It's a flat race. You want to go flat racing? Go flat racing at Newbury in the summer.
People buy horses, don't they, to win this race now?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You should not be allowed to run more than 2 bumpers in your life, and no bumper should be worth more than $3,000.
Racing Twitter loves this race more than any other throughout the season because they all want to say that they saw the best of Mullins and the best of Elliott's early on in the season.
Everyone's talking about these horses.
But we have got a great clash here, DJ, haven't we?
Oh, cracking race. Yeah, I can't wait.
It's an English-Irish thing, though, isn't it? Or a British-Irish thing. I mean, British people don't care.
Everyone talks about
I see your point.
I was at Kempton last week, right? Now, it wasn't the most massive round you'll ever see at Kempton, right? But after the penultimate race, I have never seen a course so desolate other than Kempton and an all-weather meeting, funnily enough. Right. It was empty. Everyone just went home.
You were delighted at that point, weren't you? I told you so.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, Irish people love thinking they know stuff that other people don't know. So there's so much unknown in bumpers.
Flat racing. People hold horses back for a year to run in flat races.
They've won 22 of the 29 races, Ireland. It's not going to go the way of Britain this time, is it? We don't think?
I couldn't think of a British bumper horse.
No,
running in there.
There you go.
There's got any chance.
Racing Post ratings have 3 that can possibly win it. Facile Vega, who Patrick told us on the big jump off, and then they told everyone else. Vega's son was going to be the best horse they had. American Mike, who the Elliott's camp, he's looks super, isn't he? And Mercury is the other horse that could come in at a prize potentially.
Yeah,
the top 3.
He won't run. No, he won't.
He's not going to run.
He's only a 4-year-old. I don't know how anybody, and obviously these 2 boys won't now. I don't know how anybody could have a strong opinion on this race. This is virtually, you're betting into the unknown here because they could be absolute superstars. Redemption Day could be a superstar. Yeah. He showed serious pace when he won at Leopardstown. He didn't come off the bridle. American Mike's time at Navan was fantastic, and Facile Vega looked like Concorde, whatever type of airplane you want to say, at Leopardstown. They could all be superstars. I have no idea who's going to win it, but I cannot wait to see it.
Time was fantastic, but nothing that an 85 rated flat horse couldn't do.
Oh God, don't go there.
The point about...
People start talking about the Lincoln in a minute, hang on.
Oh, I've got one for that.
Tell me at the break.
You usually go on holiday for that, don't you? Melrose has to do it, doesn't he, usually? Okay, all right, Tom, come on, the bumper. Make some... Come on, who's going to...
Listen, I like Keels. I'm not a great fan of the race. As a betting medium, the one thing I would say is Facile Vega's way too short. Way too short. The last 2, I mean, Appreciate It and Kilcrut won the bumper in faster times, in just as impressively as Facile Vega did, and they both got beat.
Yeah.
I think Facile Vega's up against 2 really good horses in American Mike and Redemption Day. So I just think he's too short.
I'm sensing a lay.
Yeah, no, that's not my game, but he's not one for me at the price. I mean, I'd much rather be on American Mike.
Okay, all right. That's the Wednesday done. I said we weren't going to go over. Thursday and Friday better be pretty swift, boys. This time, you've had 1 go at it. Best bet on a Wednesday. Don't give me 2 this time.
You can't give...
yeah. Tiger
Roll, Facile Vega double.
I mean, at the prices, I really do like Comprond in the Coral Cup.
Nice, DJ.
You can have it as well.
After stealing mine. No, you have to steal it. No, I don't want your sloppy seconds. I'll go for a high senior in the Brown Advisory.
Okay, a race that I fancy.
Yeah, I like Long Press if he runs. Yeah. I think he will run there, and I think he's got a great chance.
All right, day 2 done. Well, this is this time of the show where we bring a bit of class to the table, and I'm delighted to say we can go over to Ireland. And Katie Walsh joins us along the way. Katie, welcome along to this preview.
Thank you very much. How are you keeping, Dave?
Absolutely superb. I'm glad to be just having a little 5 minutes off of the lunatics, actually, with yourself, and we can just have a general chat. The first thing to say, Katie, is I can announce you, I think we can announce it here, that all through starting Cheltenham Week, you're going to be joining us as a columnist, aren't you?
I am indeed, yeah, really looking forward to it. I did a small bit of it last year and I enjoyed it. So hopefully we can have a bit of fun, hopefully tip a few winners and dissect a few races along the way and a couple of rides.
Cannot wait for that. When do you make the journey over, the pilgrimage, as you say? Of course, 2 years since we've been able to do it. Well, you must have been in training just for the week, have you?
Oh, absolutely. Sure. Isn't everyone absolutely pumped? You know, just can't wait. And I think people are going to appreciate it even so much more this year because obviously there was only a handful that went last year and, you know, the year before as it was, you know, so it was, it's so exciting. I cannot wait for it. I'm like a child at Christmas now, pulling all this.
That makes about 3 million of us, I think, doesn't it, Katie? Absolutely. So, all right, let's get to the business of this then, Katie, because we want to know what's going on inside of and the mind of Katie Walsh, viewers, don't we? Let's face it. You talk about, everyone can't wait. That roar is going to be like no other. Let's have a little look at the Supreme. We're going to look at some championship races, ask Katie about her naps and all that sort of stuff. But this Supreme is one for the ages. We know that only one of Willie's will probably turn up, whether it be, a Dysart or Sir Gerhardt. We won't know until the Sunday, let's face it. If you could ride one, do you think this is going to go to Nikki, or will the Irish strike in the very first race?
I think this is probably the hottest race of the festival, and I think everyone is probably in agreement with that. What an absolute cracker to get us started. And as you say, we're not going to know what Willie's going to do. Willie doesn't know what he's going to do until literally the weekend before, until declarations come out, and see what happens that morning or what hasn't happened. So I think this is an absolute cracker. I think it's very competitive, but I think it might go the way of Ireland, to be fair. I think I'd love Dysart Dynamo. Is he going to go there? I'm not sure. Sir Gerard was extremely good in Leopardstown the last day. He'd want to jump a little bit quicker though. Thought his jumping was the only thing that might let him down, but he's a star horse. You've got Constitution Hill, who hasn't put a foot wrong all year. I'd have Constitution Hill over John Bond if that's any consolation. Listen, you can dissect his win the last day, but just for me, with the way he carries on, I think with the crowds back, and the atmosphere is going to be electric. I don't know if that's really going to suit him. People's hearts are going to be racing. There's going to be a lot of action, and I don't think if John Bond can, maybe I'll be proven wrong, if he can mentally take that hype that comes with the Cheltenham Festival, I think it might go the way of Ireland, and it could go to either one of Willie's, to be honest with you, Sir Gerard or Dysart Dynamo. What about you, Dave?
All right. Well, I must admit, I'm in the Constitution camp. I'm sticking patriotic to Nicky. I know how much he thinks about him, but the feature race on day one then is the Champion Hurdle. You did, you took part in our ultimate guide, Katie, didn't you? And I saw your moment of the festival would be if Honeysuckle did it. I mean, you will know the vibes about Appreciate It going straight there. They avoided the Dublin Racing Festival, didn't they? Want to have one crack at her. Can he possibly do it?
If there's any man who can get it done, it's Willie Mullins, and I think we're all in agreement with that. I mean, out of any trainer who was going to rock on to a Champion Hurdle being his first run of the season, I mean, I think it's going to be extremely difficult. I don't think he can beat the filly, but I don't know what else is going to beat the filly. I like Gordon's horse. I like Tia Poo. Thought he was very good the last day. And if there's any man who could put it up to her, it could be Willie with Appreciate It. But listen, I'm in the Honeysuckle camp all the way. I think she's phenomenal, and I know Henry's horses were under a bit of a cloud, but good horses don't let you down, and she hasn't let him down all season. And if they were under a bit of a cloud, that means she's only going to get better. So I think it's going to go the way of Honeysuckle again, and hopefully we'll all be there to witness it.
Yeah, there's absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of rumbling about all of a sudden some judges coming up and saying, wasn't that impressed, at Dublin? But absolutely, I can't see this drifting from the twos on that Paddy Power are offering at the minute. Okay, let's look to the Wednesday then. Shishkin versus Energumene. Money for Jacques and Poursoir coming in, despite the fact he seems to get a bit seasick on the way over. We knew that there was a little bit of a scare. I don't know how much we could read into that stone bruise for Energumene, wasn't it? Seemingly your brother Ruby's rode and everything's fine. Is this going to be one for the Brits, though?
I'm a Shishkin fan all the way, 100%. He's tough. He stays. I think it's going to be a very intriguing race to watch, really, because I think Shishkin's the better horse, but I think Energumene's the better jumper, quicker, slicker jumper. So I think Paul is going to really have to make use of that. But yet again, by making use of that, he's going to have to go on a stride. And then by going on a stride, you're really going to suit Shishkin when it comes to the last couple of furlongs. But Paul's really going to have to make use of Energumene's jumping to see if he can get away from Shishkin anywhere. Jacques and Poursoir is a fantastic racehorse, but he's been here before and he hasn't done it. He doesn't seem to run well abroad, and he definitely doesn't seem to do anything up a hill, by no means. And he's not going to do it here either. And I think whatever money that is, I'm thankful it's not mine. But I'm a Shishkin fan all the way. But I think this will be a great race to watch. And Paul really is going to have to make use of Energumene's jumping because that's his best asset, and you have to use your best asset. But yet again, as I say, by using your best jumping, it means you're going to be going on the stride, which is going to suit Nico de Boinville and Shishkin the other end of it. But I think this is going to go the way of the Brits. We'll give you this one.
Happy days. Let's take one. Now, I need a bit of help here, Katie, because the feature on Thursday is obviously the Stayers Hurdle. This looks like a disastrous race to me. I think the market's pretty much got it right, but which one can we go for? Could there be a flyer? I don't know. Classical Dream, what on earth happened at Gowran? If he hadn't run there, we'd be screaming for him. Any ideas here?
Classical Dream, you couldn't, and the prelims aren't going to suit Classical Dream. Sure, Ruby nearly fell off him on the way down to the start a couple of years ago. He's been running without crowds as well. What do you fancy in this?
Oh, I don't know. I'm even coming round to the fact that Philip Hobbs might win it. I don't like Paisley Park. I don't like Champ. I think Flooring Porter is what he is, but he's had about 1 million runs over hurdles, hasn't he? I can't have him really. I know he's a 7-year-old, but if he wins, I think it's because others blow out. This is the one race that's making my cogs go a bit slow.
I think that it was really intriguing. Flooring Porter isn't going to handle the Pearl Limeries well either. You know, he absolutely died of death when he came back to Punchestown with a bit of a crowd. So I mean, I don't know what's going to happen when he gets into Cheltenham and there's people hanging out over the rail and the flags are going. I like Paisley Park the last day. Like, he didn't want to jump off, but maybe is that the way to ride him?
Aidan Coleman will definitely tell you it is. I'm not sure your brother would say it. Anyway, look, it's going to be a great one. This is a muddling water then. Let's see what the final field is. Let's talk about the Gold Cup. Last year's 1-2 back. A lot of people expecting Aplutar to get the better of what seemingly looks a blow par and Manila Indo. We've got Galvin in the mix as well. We've got a couple of Brits to throw in. Where are we looking? Who's going to take gold? You're a 3-time winner at the festival, Katie. If you had to sit on one.
Oh, Manila Indo for me. Proved, done it. You know, probably should have won an RSA, to be honest with you. Won an Albert Bartlett. He operates around there. He wins around there. He absolutely sluiced up last year. I mean, a whole way up the straight, his ears were pricked. I don't know how people think that Aplutar is going to turn it over with him. You know, Aplutar was the exact same race that was ran in Leopardstown this year. Aplutar didn't come out the right side of it. Galvin got an absolute peach off the maestro, David Russell. I thought Manila Indo ran well the last day in Leopardstown, a track that he doesn't usually run that well around. He bounced back from the King George well. For me, it has to be Manila Indo, and I don't know how Plutarch is going to turn the tides on that.
Back-to-back Gold Cup wins, and for Katie Walsh and Manila Indo, she learned from the best, doesn't she, viewers? Basically, Cheltenham form. Every year it comes back. All right, this is what we all want to hear. Nap time, Katie Walsh. Of all the races, you get your choice. Who's the best bet?
Is this now best bet at the price, or what I think won't come off the bridle?
What won't come off the bridle? This is what we're getting to. They don't want to hear from me anymore. This is now, they're all tuned in.
Well, I'm not very exciting. I don't think Honeysuckle will come off the bridle. I don't think she will come off the bridle. I think she's an absolute certainty.
Give us one to chuck in a double then. Give us one to chuck in a double.
Little sneaky one there. Ross O'Sullivan, my husband, trains one in the Boodles C sessions, and she's a big price, and she's getting the weight off a couple of horses she's after beating already this season. Looks like she's going to get in, stays all day, and you know, she's in good form heading there. She's travelled, she's won an Aintree, she was unlucky the last day not to win, beating a short head, so we know she doesn't mind the boat anyway, and we know she stays, and they are two very important things.
Yeah, she's a toughie, isn't she? Absolutely. One, all right, for the Fred Winter, absolutely loving that. You and Ross will be nowhere to be seen for the rest of the week, I imagine, if that goes in. Give us one to take on. Who's a stinky favourite then, Kate? Maybe lay of the week.
Stinky favourite. What's favourite in the World Hurdle?
It'll probably be Flooring Porter, you know. Yeah, that's interesting what you said about him. Would you be taking him on? We know you don't like Aplutar as well.
Well, listen, I mean, I like Aplutar. I mean, I think he's a great racehorse, but I don't know how people think he's going to turn the tides with Manila Indo. I mean, he was phenomenal in Haydock. He was. That's a long time ago. I think Manila Indo, you cannot beat consistency when they get back to Cheltenham, and don't get me wrong, Aplutar is consistent, but I just think Manila Indo is a better horse around there. He's going to be extremely hard to beat. I don't think Flooring Porter is going to handle the crowds. I think he'll die of death. I don't think Classical Dream is going to handle the crowds. All of those things are absolutely essential, and if I think if Flooring Porter is favourite or whatever price he is, I think you could oppose him all day long.
Happy days. All right, I'm just about to get off this now and see what price-wise Maestro Tom Segal thinks about that, because he's put him up at a big price. Katie, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We're going to be hearing loads from you during Cheltenham week. Take care of yourself on the way over. Good luck in the Fred Winter. I'll put out the search party if C Sessions does the business.
Don't worry, if you can't see me, you'll hear me.
Quite, listen, I know how that goes. Katie Walsh, what a pleasure.
Dave, thanks very much. Take care.
Right, ding ding, round two. The half-time whistle has blown. It's the Thursday, and we kick off with the Turners Novice Chase, which a lot of people are expecting to be the match-up of the season. Never mind Shishkin and Ergamine. We want to see Bob versus Galopin Deschamps. We've spoken a bit about it so far. If Galopin, of course, runs on the Wednesday, and L'Empresse runs on the Wednesday, this is even money gift with Paddy Power, right? For Bob Olinger.
Well, if that was the case, yes. I mean, I don't know.
What price does he go off if they defect?
4 to 7.
And some.
And some, yeah.
I think so, probably, yeah.
What else is going to turn up in the race, apart from that? It's hard to know.
Yeah. I thought it was a 3-runner heat between him, Galopin and L'Empresse.
L'Empresse has been the each-way money horse for a lot of people. So when you're saying he's going for the Wednesday,
we don't know he's going there. All we're saying
You do.
all we know is that what Venetia said in the paper today. She said that he's looking at 3 miles as just a bigger possibility.
She's a very studious trainer, isn't she, Miss
Yeah, so
Williams?
that's that's a worry. If it tumbles and suddenly everybody was backing him, they're looking at a really short price favourite, especially if Galopin goes. And
it'll be ground dependent, won't it, Keels? For these horses. I mean, if it got heavy,
it's a bog.
they'd all run in this race.
It's a bog, they run in this race, don't they? Yeah.
I'm really hoping that the 6-year-old Galopin doesn't defect. When you hear Henry de Bromhead interviewed and say, if they want to come and have a crack, fair enough. That's what racing needs, isn't it? Willie and Henry going at each other.
Well, we have to take it. Willie Mullins has told us that Galopin Deschamps is going for this race, or likely to go for this race. He might change his mind, but at the moment, on Sunday, we have to say that this horse is going to run. So this could be the race of the meeting, it could be the race of the decade. These are 2 brilliant novices, I think, over this trip. And I don't know even if Willie realises it. It's 2 mile 3 and 168 yards. It's a proper speed test.
Yeah.
And Bob Olinger, definitely, whatever people say, you can be in the Galopin Deschamps camp or you can be in the Bob Olinger camp. You can't argue that Bob Olinger doesn't have more speed than Galopin Deschamps. I thought his jumping was really good at Punchestown. I thought people went overboard on saying how they're comparing him to Brave Man's Game and probably Galopin Deschamps. He's not as good as them, but he's a bigger engine. And I think Bob Olinger will win.
It was definitely better, wasn't it? And when that turbo, if you like, kicked in, was from the last fence that you went, wow, there he is.
It's another one of these things where if you've got a high-profile horse, everyone wants to pick holes in them without any evidence. I mean, I thought on his first run he was fine. He wasn't that bad on his first run. He made one mistake. It's a novice chaser. He's not that bad a jumper by any stretch.
We mischievously played around with that, didn't we? With G-Rod gets his mention. Yeah.
He's not that bad a jumper. Like Dave said, he hasn't jumped as well as those other 2, but he has jumped perfectly okay for the most part for any novice chaser. So, I just look at him sometimes and I think it actually takes more out of him to jump the fences than it does some others. He's not as natural. He puts more effort into it.
So you'd be with Galopin if he ran?
And it just worries me about horses that put a little bit more effort into him. It takes its toll after a while. Yeah. I always thought that Thistlecrack wasn't as good over fences. I know he won a King George. Wasn't as good over fences as he was over hurdles because he put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, you lose too much energy.
And that'd be my one issue with him. I think at 2 mile 3.5 furlong on decent ground, I don't think he'll waste that much energy. And he is a very fast horse. We know that from the way he finished at Cheltenham last year. I'd probably just edge him. I wanted to back L'Empresse against both of them because I just really like that horse. But if you say which one of those 2 will win and it's good to soft ground, I'd imagine Bob Olinger is the faster of the 2.
Let's say they do face off against each other, guys. Let's get one for the viewers. I'd be with Galopin personally.
Yeah, look, we're all sitting here saying L'Empresse isn't going to run. We don't know that. He could easily turn up. If he was in it, I'd be with him, like Keels. I just think he's just the best novice I've seen in this country for many years, in my opinion. But of the 2, I would like to see Bob Olinger win. I would prefer Bob. I just think he's got all the potential in the world, and we haven't had the messing about where you're going to run. Where it's always been this race, and that's better for punters when we know that sort of thing.
A lot of ifs and buts, but if they both faced off, Keels, you'd be with Galopin?
No, it depends. I mean, if the ground's really soft, L'Empresse will run, and I'd be with him. If it's quicker and it's against the 2, I think Bob Olinger will be that bit too quick on the running.
All right, okay. Bob to make it 2 from 2 at the Cheltenham Festival for most of the panel. All right, let's go to the Pertemps. Again, this is going to be a keen betting heat, isn't it? Top 6, you have to finish all season round. They don't come in with a 1 next to their name usually, do they? There's been some gambles already. Let's come to you, Kills, with this, because you've been banging on about Alaphilippe for Fergal O'Brien.
Yeah, well, Fergal O'Brien's finally got it right. I think he's been trying to win this for a while. Barney Dwan ran into presenting Percy, and then put Imperial...
it wasn't Imperial Aura, was it?
Imperial Alcazar got struck into last year, having won the trial at Warwick. Now, in that trial at Warwick, Alaphilippe went round the outside. He tugged like mad. And I still thought Paddy bet him, just sort of thought, crikey, this might actually win this race. And he took a pull going to the last. And he finally got tired after the last. And the handicap had dropped him £2. And he served notice that he was a mid-150s horse when he ran in that race. And he got dropped to 138. I think he's the best handicap horse in Britain. And I think he'll win.
Well, if it's soft ground, he's going to have a right old chance. There is an Irish horse in this, of course, for Paul Byrne, our colleague. Winter Fog.
Yeah, a big chance.
Did he not quite get home?
Yeah, that's my worry. The trip is the worry. I think
he's well entered as well, isn't he?
I can see why they're thinking of the Pertemps final, because it's a weaker race. Then the Coral Cup is going to be a hell of a race this year if they all go, the ones that are towards the top of the market. In a strongly run Pertemps, it's stamina that worries me a little bit about Winter Fog. He's with a brilliant trainer, he's with a shrewd owner, and I'd say there's loads of improvement to come, but it's just stamina that I have a worry about. Alaphilippe, sure, I didn't have my contact lenses in and I could see how eye-catching he was that day. He was absolutely, if you wanted to pick a Pertemps final horse, he was the one to pick out. The only thing I will say, winners of qualifiers have a terrible record in this race, but I don't think any as good as Sporting John have ran in the race.
He could have run in the Stayers, couldn't he?
He is by far the best horse in this race, I think.
He's a grade one winner over fences.
He's a grade one winner, and I know what Keels is saying.
£18.
I know, and he might go for the Stayers hurdle, and it's going to be hard for him to beat Alaphilippe. And he probably won't win, but he's a classy horse. But I'd be with Keels here. Alaphilippe looks very hard to beat.
Tom, all right, what do you reckon?
Well, the boys have all told you all about it. I think he won it twice. Sire du Burley.
Yes,
if he runs in here, he was second in the.
Booked Rob James.
Yeah, he was second in the Stayers hurdle. Those who love festival form will be going nowhere else but Sire du Burley. If he's getting the £7 off with a good claimer, he looked in pretty decent form at the start of the season. I know he ran at Warwick in the Alaphilippe
the infamous
race.
qualifier.
The infamous qualifier. He's as you say, he's dropped a few pounds in the handicap. Got a £7 claimer on. It'd be hard to kick out the frame.
Okay, let's move on then. That's the Pertemps. The Ryanair. Muddling division all year, Tom. He was 7-2 at the start of the season. Allaho, he's going to be one of the shortest price favourites of the week.
Yeah, he's got nothing to beat, has he? The only horse that could give him a race is Conflated, but I don't know if he'll run in this.
What about Eldorado Allen?
No chance. Move on. Next one.
Okay.
DJ.
Yeah, I don't fancy Eldorado Allen. Allaho for me. I think Conflated will run in the Gold Cup because Gordon wants him to run the Gold Cup. Asked him yesterday, 70-30 in favour of the Gold Cup yesterday.
It seems like one of these perennial tussles, doesn't it, at the moment with the O'Learys and Elliott about him. I have to say, the Ryanair looks the place for me with him, but this is money buying, is it?
Yeah, I don't fancy Eldorado Allen either, but what looks like running, I do fancy him to finish second. Because
he's got the Shishkin form, hasn't he?
I mean, he's just
he actually made Shishkin look a bit workman-like last year.
He's just improved all season, and just run to a solid level. It's still a long way behind Allaho. What else is likely to run in the race? I mean, I think Fakir Didier was knackered. I just don't want to go anywhere near.
That was his cup final, wasn't it?
Maybe I don't want to go anywhere. Yeah, I would go straight to Aintree with him.
It's JP though, isn't it?
I mean, he's a spring horse. That's the thing. He does run really well because he actually ran well again afterwards at Punchestown, didn't he? So he can go again, but I don't want to touch anything just because that ground was so bad at Ascot. So just looking at what's left in the race, I think Eldorado Island will be second, but I can't see. I mean, I mentioned the other day, the one thing that amazes me is, Dan Skelton must have some confidence in Chamblou. We've got to mention the horse.
How can he not be running him in a handicap off
because,
that mark?
I mean, he'd have been even money for that 3 mile handicap at Kempton last week. Because he'd have been running off 148. He was, what price is Fusel Raffles for the play? He's only about 12, 14 to 1.
He hasn't shone at Cheltenham though, Kills, has he, so far?
No, he hasn't. I mean, he might have just gone too soon last year. He might not have been right.
Does he have to lead?
He's going to be bang fresh. He doesn't have to lead. He took turns with Surname, didn't he, in the early stages of Weatherby. Very, very interesting. I think they've said they're not going to lead. They're not even going to try and take on Allaho. So yeah, I'd just be interested to see what he does. But he must have real belief in the horse, just to throw away all that potential prize money that could have been picked up.
We're all
in the big
expecting Allaho
handicap
to
off
win
of
then,
either
are we,
one for it.
basically?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you sense that there is that treble then, don't you? Honeysuckle, Shishkin, Allaho. I wonder what the fourth one will be there if there's a four-timer. Probably not in the stayers, I would imagine, which again has been a bit of a muddling division, hasn't it? Tom, come to you. You put up Flooring Porter, last year's winner.
Yeah, I think he'll win again myself. I mean, I think there's been a lot of, I think people talk too much about horses that get high profile. I mean, don't think he's done a single thing wrong, really. I mean, you can forget the Punchestown run after that he won this easily last year. I think he would have won the Lismullen hurdle, and I think he ran a blinder. If you just, I mean, I can't work out why people aren't factoring in the fact that he gave Classical Dream 12-length start and still think, you know, it wasn't a great run. The one thing he has to do is lead, and that's the problem, because he hung in behind Classical Dream and he wouldn't come off the rail to go past him, because I think he might have gone past him if he'd have been a normal horse. He's a bit funny, isn't he? Everyone knows that, and you're slightly worried that he could do something stupid. But if he gets the lead, and I can't believe they'll make the running at Classical Dream again, round there after that run last time.
What was that about? That's a strange one, DJ. That going there. I mean, looks, hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? But that's always a war, the Galmoy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Willie even admitted it. He just got a bit greedy. Local track, Galmoy, you know, will be odds on. He'll probably just about win. And Paul Tennant said he was never travelling through the race, which visually he looked fine up on the home turn. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Flooring Porter did a really good piece of work at Fairyhouse where he beat American Mike in a school and bumper.
Did he?
Yeah, yeah. And both horses, they found it very hard to pull him up, I think. Flooring Porter went the whole way to Ballyhack.
Yeah,
he's
God,
mental.
yeah.
He's absolutely
He's got a
mental.
bizarre profile, hasn't he? Like, was winning off 99 in handicaps. Came out of nowhere. He's had like 30 runs in it.
It was a pure coincidence. One day Johnny Moore couldn't hold him in a handicap hurdle at Navan. He had to send him to the front, and he loved it. So that kind of reinvigorated him. He's a very good horse, and if he's on song, he's going to take a hell of a lot of beating. But I've thought all season time he'll win the Stayers hurdle, and I wasn't at all put off by his performance behind Champ. I think he needs a real end-to-end gallop, like he got in the Albert Bartlett a few years ago when he was an unlucky loser. Monkfish won it. Latest exhibition was second and Fury Road was third. It was a strong Albert Bartlett. I think he's finally going to get his chance in the Stayers hurdle at Cheltenham, and I think he's better than the Irish.
Flooring. Time White, sorry. Get it right.
Hill.
Time Hill, sorry, not Time White. We're not
we'll
at the
get
grand
to him in a minute.
Annual in a minute.
There's your hat trick. So Philip Hobbs would be lovely to see Philip have a winner, wouldn't it? But I don't know. I'm not totally sure. Okay, that's a muddling Stayers then. Classical Dream, you think will be one of those anti-post bets we've mentioned about that people have backed and given up on. He's crazy best fresh. He could just go well. I think I probably might just back him actually and just hope. Stayers are done. 3 races left. Paddy Power Plate. Big one for our sponsors, of course, on this show. Tom, fancy one?
Absolutely. I've not been looking at the handicaps that much, but I spent hours on the plate the other day, and I have found one. West Cork Wild Way.
Get out of it!
All the Shrudies are on it.
You just read that. I want it.
Never.
Hey,
Never.
going on?
Paul O'Flynn, one of the finest Cork trainers I've ever seen.
You don't even know what he did last time, do you?
I know who Paul Flynn is, DJ, but I don't really know who Paul O'Flynn is.
No, it's a small trainer in Cork. Yeah. Tom, why do you fancy him?
And I'll leave that to Keels. I just understand that these are a massive chance.
I just really like the way he jumped when he won on his second start. And he beat the bosses Oscar and Stratum, and they're two not bad horses. I mean, okay, not brilliant ones. And then, he went well for a long way behind Bob Ollinger in that race. That he had no chance of winning. Got outpaced when they quickened up, but then ran on again late. I think he's got a reasonable handicap mark, and he's one of those horses you see him. He goes for, he tends to go from the front, which is what you want around, over that trip at Cheltenham, and he does jump well. And if the ground is decent, I think he's going to run a big race. I'll also back Imperial Alcazar, just because that novice handicap chase at Cheltenham is one of the best guides.
4 of the last 6 had won last time out of this race. It's becoming sort of like progressive horse race. That novice handicap chase at the trials meeting has also been very good, mostly for the novice handicap chase. But I mean, on Tom Pertemps was finished 4th in it, and then won an Ultima, and obviously Simply the Bets won this a couple of years ago, came on there, and Imperial Alcazar just looked really good when he ran there. He deserved the weight rise that he's got, so I think he'll go well as well.
I like another, apart from West Cork Wild Way, which is obviously my major fancy.
Nap time.
I thought the mare, Alan King's mare, had a chance, the Glancing Queen, if she runs in.
I like what you wrote about her the other day. I get all of it. It's long press, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. It's the long press form. Some good horses behind her. Fantastic House, Come On Teddy. Those sort of horses behind her in the dipper.
She's a strong traveller, isn't she?
Travels well, jumps really well. She was just I just thought I'm big like Hills on the novice angle here. I think they've got such a good record. I like novices in handicaps.
Would she
Always
like
have
it
done.
wet? Is she a sort of...
No, I don't think she'd be fine.
She's champion bumper, didn't she?
Yeah, she ran a cracker in the champion bumper. She's running 2 champion bumpers actually.
Yes.
She ran 5th one year to, I think it was Envoy. I can't remember. But she ran in one of the good bumpers and ran really well.
Envoy.
Yeah, and then first time out, he left. She'd had a few issues.
She had a problem, didn't she?
Came first up. But I thought she jumped really well. I think coming to the last, she was as close to long press as any horse has been. And long press powered away from her up the hill, but long press powers away from every horse up the hill. I thought she's got a good 141 is definitely not the ceiling of her ability. So she'd be on my list as well.
Yeah, I think I'll be with her. DJ?
Yeah, she's got a chance. I can see the case, for West Cork Wildway as well. Keels has managed to unearth one there. I think Grand Paradis is a good horse. He's been a weak finisher so far over fences, and the English handicappers put him up to 145 from 139. But he's a similar sort of type of profile to Chosen Mate, who won the Grand Annual a few years ago. He's ran well in good beginners' chases. He's bumped into good horses like Jungle Boogie. I think you're going to see Grand Paradis at his best here, and I think he'll travel really well into the race. Whether he'll quite get home, I don't know.
Why are you laughing, so?
No, I'm not laughing. I'm just thinking. I think he hasn't won a chase though, has he?
No, he hasn't won a chase. No, but that mightn't be the worst thing in the
No,
world.
no, it might not be.
Horses that finish 4th in graded novice chases in Ireland, and they come to handicaps at the Cheltenham Festival, they're the sort of proper dark ones.
He's a weak finisher, which worries me, but I think he'll travel like the best horse in the race.
Yeah, one for Elliot then. Okay, all right. Mares novice, anyone fancy anything in this? Oh, this is not really. Yours is out, we should say.
Yeah, mine's out. Yeah, back to Allegory de Vassy. My first anti-post tip of the week of the season, and yeah, just got a bone bruise or whatever it is.
Mullins
the horse,
looks like he's got the key again, doesn't he?
The mare she beat last time, Brandy Love, I think is a bit of a loony. And
very keen horse.
I think, okay, it's left-handed this time, but if she dives left at the last, she's going to ruin her chance completely. So I liked Grand G. I mean, we were called Willie Mullins. Brian Cooper said he had those two covered. I'm not sure, 100% sure I believe that, but he hadn't actually gone right for her, so she may have found plenty more. So that'd do me. Dino Blue looked good.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about it afterwards.
I like Party Central a bit. Yeah, I know she was
only
won a handicap of 121, but she ran in the Ferry House bumper against all this lot. She split Grand G and Brandy Love. I just thought she was Davy Russell all over. You could see her just sort of creeping, and then sort of pouncing late on. I thought she had a perfectly reasonable chance.
Okay, a couple of tips then in the mare's novice. Kim Muir to finish the day on Thursday. Did you want to come to you on this? Because it looks like Frontal Assault's been backed by everyone, bar me.
Yeah, it's funny, like, you think when a horse gets a rise of £6 from 139 to 145, you think everybody be going crazy saying, what a disgrace. They're delighted because he gets into the race, because he's off 145 now. And like, it's very seldom you hear a camp so positive after getting such a rise. So if they think he's really well handicapped off a mark of 145, what on earth could he be? Is he like this Grade 1 horse masquerading as a handicapper? The key thing here is the trip. Okay, we saw with Galvin last year how much he improved, obviously, for the step up and trip. Like, Frontal Assault, 3 mile 2 is, like, on the new course Cheltenham, is just going to be made for Frontal Assault. He's going to be hitting the line hard. He's the strongest there in the field. They obviously think he's the best handicapped horse in the field. Rob James takes off £7. If you fancy Frontal Assault, I could not put you off. The only thing that could put you off is the price.
It looks like it's going to be his absolute target as well. There's another race where you're not sure where they're going to go, some of the horses in here.
I mean, look, he's just way too short, isn't he? You know, we would look, last year Mount Ida was, 8-9 to 1 on the morning of the race, And
200 to 1 in running.
200 to 1. I thought there was a couple in. I thought, Come On Teddy, who was 3rd in the Pertemps last year. Pertemps, I said that wrong. Pertemps has a chance.
He likes the place, doesn't he?
Yeah, loves it, stays well, done nothing wrong over fences. Thought he had a decent chance. I think the trip will suit. He won't get in the Ultima, I think it's 69 or something in that. So he'll have to come here. And one at the top of the weights, Ain't That a Shame for Henry de Bromhead. Booked a good £7 claimer for him. He ran against Galopan, and if you watch the race back on his debut, he ran really well. He wasn't far behind Well, he was, when I say not far, he was 10 lengths behind him at the last. But Rachel was very easy on him and beat the rest easily. Fleur was way behind, and a few others. And then last time, he got beat by Champagne Platinum in a novice chase, but I don't know how he got beat by Champagne Platinum. He just got done on the line, having looked all over the winner for a long way. Slight worry about him 3 miles too, because he didn't look like the strongest finisher at Navan last time, but better ground, you see all these things.
He's a bit of class.
He's a bit of class, that horse, and he could run really well.
Right, okay. That is the Thursday done. Major hope on Thursday, Tom.
Oh, I've got to remember what races there are on Thursday now.
Stayers.
We just did
Flooring Porter. Flooring Porter
Thought it
for
might
me.
be.
Yeah.
DJ?
I'm going to go for Time Hill. I'm going against you again.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, yeah, I'll go West Cork Wildway because Tom dug that one out for me.
What a surprise. All right, there you go. That's the Thursday. Looks muddling to some, but all done. Shall we go to the Gold Cup day?
Hi everyone, Ed Chamberlain here from ITV Racing. My best bet for the Cheltenham Festival is reliant on Willie Mullins making a late decision to send Sir Gerhard to the Ballymore. I hope he does. Ruby Walsh's enthusiasm for this horse is infectious. He's got the all-important Cheltenham Festival form. I think he's very good. I hope he goes to the Ballymore rather than the Red Hot Supreme. Sir Gerhard is my best bet of the week. And don't forget, all 4 days are live on ITV. The earliest start time this year, we're on air each day at 12:40. Can't wait.
My best bet for the festival is Constitution Hill in the Supreme. He looks a decent price now that the money's come in for Sir Gerhard, but I just think that Constitution Hill could well be something out of the ordinary. The manner in which he's extended away from smart rivals in both of his hurdle starts at Sandown so far really has been a sight to behold. He's trying to emulate Somerville Boy and what he did in 2018 by winning both the Tolworth and the Supreme. This is one of the strongest Supreme novices we've seen in many a year, and I'm hoping that Constitution Hill will come out as best of the best.
My Cheltenham bet for the festival is Vauban for the Triumph Hurdle. I can't see how you could have anything else out of the top 3 at least, and 7 of the last 12 winners have come from the top 3 in the betting. Yes, he was second behind Pied Piper on hurdle debut, but he made a mess of the last, and then went on to destroy Fildor in the Dublin Racing Festival. I can't see that form turned around. Vauban for the Triumph Hurdle is a strong bet for me.
Hello, my best bet for the Cheltenham Festival 2022 is in the Boodles Gold Cup itself, and it's Galvin. Galvin has been to 3 Cheltenham Festivals, has always run well, winner of the National Hunt Chase in 2021 and only just defeated the year before. As far as this season is concerned, okay, he was beaten at Dan Royal, but that wasn't the big day. What I love was the Savills Chase, when he came from a potentially tricky position to grab victory in the very closing stages. Galvin then for the Gold Cup, Galvin for what could be a redemptive Cheltenham Festival for trainer Gordon Elliott. Good luck.
So my Cheltenham Festival 2022 bet is Ahoy Signor, who has been confirmed for the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. He was my anti-post pick and he is still firmly my pick. Yes, he has to take on Brave Man's Game again. Can they turn the tables round? Look, Ahoy Signor, he's gone to Kelso Racecourse post-racing and he's having a bit of a gallop and a jump around. So it would kind of give him that sense to go downhill to some of the fences, a little bit of undulation, a taste of what Cheltenham has in store for him. Wouldn't it just be terrific to have northern trainers, Lucinda Russell, Peter Scudamore, who certainly know a thing or two about training and on the big stage. So I'm not switching camp, I'm going to keep the faith, and it's Ahoy Signor for me.
My best bet for the Cheltenham Festival is Classical Dream in the Stayers Hurdle. The Supreme Novices winner from a couple of seasons ago. He was backed off the boards and he hacked up on the bridle in Grade 1 company at Punchestown last spring. He beat Flooring Porter on his penultimate start, and that Gorham Park run I think can be forgiven. The form looks very strong, the ground was horrible, and anything that turned into the straight in front on that day did not get home. I think he'll be cherry ripe for Cheltenham, and Classical Dream will run a big race.
My best bet at the Cheltenham Festival is Paisley Park in the Stayers Hurdle. The market leaders all have flip-flop form, but you cannot ignore Paisley's last run at Cheltenham, where he gave the other horses a 20-length start and still came through impressively to win. He can hit a flat spot in his races, but no one is better to get him through that than usual jockey Aidan Coleman, and I'm sure that Emma Lavelle has Paisley primed and ready to retake his Stayers crown.
My Cheltenham Nap is the final race, the final day, 5:30, Friday, the Martin Pipe, Langer Dan. Surely this time he wins. Hopefully there's no Galopin des Champs lurking. Willie Mullins, don't you dare enter another Galopin des Champs in the Martin Pipe on the Friday, because Langer Dan dropped £3 by the handicapper for his prep run at Taunton, second last year. Dan Skelton trades. He's going to come there on the snaff, the Langer, at the last. Hopefully this time he gets up the hill in front.
Okay, biggest racing day of the year for many in the calendar is Gold Cup Day, and we start off with the Triumph. Tom, I'm going to come to you with this. It looked like Fedor was the one for Gordon Elliott all the way around. It's got the same colours as well. Pied Piper, H. John Gosden on the flat. We saw what he did in Punchestown Maiden, where he beat Vauban. That looks like it might be the key form coming into this. Pied Piper won as he liked. Then, of course, Vauban comes out at the Dublin Racing Festival, wins a sprint race. He's now Fav. Where do we like?
It's hard. It's hard to know which one. I mean, I think Keels is keen on Vauban. I like Vauban too. He did nothing wrong. The only thing you'd say about him is that he wears a tongue tie, and it was a muddling race at Leopardstown. I don't think there's as much between the British hurdlers and the Irish as everyone is making out. I think we've got a shot in this, even though everyone says we haven't. I still think Knight Salute's an underrated horse. Every time he runs, every time he runs, he seems to get better. Obviously, we don't know how he stands with the Irish. But I mean, I just think he's one of those horses by a Derby winner out of an Oaks third for starters.
Well, that's interesting because I've got a stat here. 9 of the last 10 have had a Group 1 winning sire.
Yeah.
Okay, that is awful for Vauban. If you look, if you're a fan of that sort of thing, he's by is it Galloway?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, so he's not bred to be winning this. Mullins is 1 from 24 in the past decade. Burning Victory got lucky, of course. I think we can say that because Goshen would have absolutely hosed up. I don't know. I think Vauban.
Listen, I'm not against Vauban. I'm not against any of these Irish horses. I just think, not sure I want to back them at the prices they are now. I personally think that Dr. Parnassus is a much better horse than people are giving him credit for. I know he's got masses to find on the book. I know he couldn't lose a race at Taunton last time, getting weight from some terrible horses. I just like him. I just think he jumps really, really well. He's got one piece of flat form when he split a horse of Mark Johnson's that was pretty good and finished in front of Trash Can I used to call him, but Trash Can's now
Allison's very good stayer.
102, 108 or something he's rated
couples,
now. Yeah. In fact, he's got some flat form that gives, and I just think he's just got the stamina and the jumping and everything about him strikes me as being a good Triumph hurdle horse. Now I don't know how he's going to rock up against the Irish, but at 16-20 to 1, he'd be my each-way play.
We spoke to Gordon Elliott, didn't we? We got him on a What a Shout, and it was interesting to hear him talking about Pied Piper.
Yeah, I think all season he's thought Fildor was his number one all season, and even now he's not convinced who Davy Russell will ride. So that would suggest that Fildor is a bit of value here. But I think Vauban wins this. I see Tom's point with Dr. Parnassus, and I'd say he is a very good horse. But what you're dealing with here is a horse who Willie Mullins wanted to keep for next year's Supreme because he thought he was next year's Supreme horse. Didn't really want to run him as a juvenile because his record in juvenile races is terrible. I think it's 2 from 56. So he thinks juvenile, the Triumph hurdles for horses that don't continue to progress. He thinks this Vauban has a massive future. I thought he did a lot wrong at Leopardstown and still bolted up.
That's interesting, isn't it?
I was shocked at how much he found from the last. I thought he'd tie up and I thought he'd just hold on maybe from Fildor, who I thought would really come back at him. He wasn't stopping at all. He bolted up. I think he's going to be impossible to beat.
I do think the Irish are better than Porticello and Knight Salute by a fair way. And I obviously like Vauban. I try not to get too overboard about it because, having tipped it at a bigger price, you can just sort of get a little bit biased towards it, can't you? But I mean, I do think he's the one to beat. I thought he won easily at Leopardstown. I don't see why he should lose to Fedor again. Although it has to be said, both of Gordon Elliott's Triumph winners got beat in that race and came back and won this. So nothing set in stone. But I mean, I think Vauban's very much the one to beat. I think he'll get shorter on the day as well. I think he'll be quite a warm favourite.
All right, that's the Triumph then. It's going to be a really good race, I think. What about the County? Real handicap for the sort of stalwarts of Cheltenham. This is the one they look forward to all year. Tom, you're sort of laughing. Have you got one for us?
It might be one for the stalwarts. It's certainly not one for me. I can't remember the last time I found the winner. Well, actually, Dan Skelton's horse Superb Story a few years ago was a good one for.
Like 2 years ago. Short memory.
Right off.
I can't remember. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was really hard. Have you got one, DJ?
Yeah, I think one of the ones that you tipped up in the paper has got a massive chance. I like to move it. I thought he was a bit unlucky at Newbury. I know the winner deserved to win Glory and Fortune and did a lot wrong and still won, but I think the new course will suit. I like to move it. I think the trip and everything, I think he's still a good horse, but the one horse who I think is really well handicapped is Shall We Have One More, who was beaten in the Dovecote, didn't jump well up the home straight. He's never ran left-handed, but visually, it looks to me like he'd love going left-handed, because even when he won by 20 lengths at Sandown, he was out in the middle of the track nearly. I think he's a good horse, Shall We Have One More? And the fact that there's not that much jumping at the business end of the race will suit him. So my 2 against the field are Shall We Have One More, and I like to move it.
The Albert Bartlett comes next, the potato race, as they call it.
You've been moderate so far, but that was a good one.
Listen, Tom, I'm in your company. It's a difficult gig, this, for me, trust me. All right, so the Albert Bartlett. And again, lots of people expecting this to be Ireland, but we have got a genuine hope here, haven't we? The Brits, with Hillcrest.
Absolutely.
Who's probably the biggest horse in training. Henry Daly said he couldn't measure him. He was that big. And he loves Cheltenham. Very unfortunate what happened to him there the last day, but he came out and showed us what he did at Haydock. Did he leave it behind at Haydock a little bit?
I don't know. I mean, he didn't run like he left it behind. He finished full of running, as far as I could tell. The Time Boys will tell you he started fast, went fast through the middle and finished fast. I mean, he ran the last 2 furlongs faster than Porticello did over 2 miles. I mean, that's what a great performance it was. Did he leave it behind? You never know these things. The question you've got is he going to run? I mean, they're making noises that they might stay for Aintree, which is would be a real shame, because I think on 3 mile form, he's better. He's better than the Irish so far. That's not to say they can't get there. Of course they can, but I think he's a real top class horse. He reminds me of French Holly. You remember French Holly?
Yeah, kicks the hurdles.
He sort of lands on all fours.
Freddie Murphy's.
Yeah. I just think he's a really, really good horse. I'd love him to run, and if he did run, I think he's a massive player.
Come to you, because you're strong on this race. I've been watching up in the ante like everyone else out there.
I'm praying that Hillcrest doesn't run. He's petrified me. What I saw the last day, that was remarkable at Haydock. I said in a piece he would have kept going and watched the second half of the Liverpool match in the Cop. Like he just gallops. He does kind of everything wrong, and he just loves galloping. He just gallops, and it just scares me a little bit. Will anything get by him? And I'm hoping that he doesn't run, because for a long, long time, Manila Crooner has been my banker of the week. This Manila Crooner is everything you want in an Albert Bartlett horse.
It's banker time.
Yeah, this is my banker of the week. I'm letting the cat out of the bag early.
We have got a nap section later on.
Yeah, you can stop watching now. Go make a cup of tea. He is everything. I don't think he's a future Gold Cup horse or anything like that, like some of them in here might be. But to me, what I want in an Albert Bartlett horse is a horse that you know is going to hit the line hard. And he is guaranteed to do that. For him to split Journey With Me in Kilcrut over 2.5 miles on the inside track at Leopardstown was a phenomenal effort, considering he kicked every hurdle out of the ground. He then went and beat Ivan in a maiden hurdle at Punchestown by 10 lengths, much easier than Chantreuse did, and Chantreuse is a decent horse. And then he comes out in the Grade 1 over 2 miles 6 at Leopardstown. Manila Cocooner, Danny Mullins rode him to sleep. He might well have won, and Jack Kennedy thinks he would if he didn't make a complete mess of the second last. Jumping is the worry, but if he does get into a decent rhythm, this horse, to me, is going to take so much beating. I just love everything about him for the Albert Bartlett. He has all the ingredients. This is his bread and butter, this Albert Bartlett, and I'll be devastated if he's beaten.
There we are, devastation. We've talked about the top 2 in the market.
Yeah, I mean, I just got the impression that when I was looking at the Irish horses that these are a classic bunch of slow maturing future tracers that always bomb out when the ground gets rattling fast on the Friday. And they're going 3 miles, and that's the way they look at me. They're all not going to be up to it. The Hillcrest has got his plenty of experience. He goes from the front. He'll stay out of trouble. If he runs, I think he's going to be very hard to beat.
This used to be your race. I used
to always find it. You know, if you have got very little experience, you need to be absolutely top class to win it. Otherwise, it's at you.
That's the stuff.
You haven't got, you're just not tough enough to do it. I mean, the ones that have won it with a very little amount of experience, like Bobsworth and Weapons Amnesty, Manila Indo, like even Manila Indo was 50s because he'd only run a couple of times. But
did horses get beaten in this race, don't they? Alaho, of course.
Loads of very.
Isnagorowski got beaten one stage.
Native River got beaten. Loads of very, very good horses have got beaten it because they're just not. It's just not their time. You know what I mean? So I like a little bit of a horse that's a bit tough.
All right, okay, that's the Albert Bartlett. Let's move to what people still consider one of the best races of the season. It is, of course, the Gold Cup. And what is it, 7 out of the top 8 Irish trained. I think we've got Protectorat in there, haven't we? We'll get to him for Dan Fresher's Pink Skelton. Tom, last year's 1-2 rock up. A lot of people expecting Aplutar to reverse that form because Manila Indo hasn't looked the force of old. Is it a case of Manila Indo coming back with that startling Cheltenham record that comes out on top, or...?
I don't know. I don't like Manila Indo. I really don't. I can't, whatever anyone says, and people are telling me his last one was really good, he folded up the home straight behind your man, Inflated. last time, and Janadil, who's not a strong stayer and won't be running in this race, nearly got past him again. If that was a cracking trial for the Gold Cup, I'm a Dutchman.
It was just better than what you showed at Kempton,
anything's
wasn't it?
better.
Kempton was a nightmare.
Anything's better than what you showed.
Well, that's
at
what I
Kempton.
mean, exactly.
You know, listen. If he bounces back, he bounces back. But that's not how I like to bet on horses. You know, guessing whether they come back. To me, he looks nothing like the horse he was last year. So he's off the list. A Plus Tard, I like very much. How can you not like him? But he got beaten the Ryanair and he got beaten the Gold Cup last year. And I think this is a better Gold Cup than last year's, because I think you got the first three, plus you got about 5 other ones that have a chance as well. So, listen, I'm happy for A Plus Tard to go and win, because I love him as a horse and always have since he won that novice handicap at the festival 3 years ago, was it?
That used to be a good race, didn't it?
What's that? Which race?
But he loses too many races for me, so...
The question is, DJ, is he more of a man this year? Because he did fiddle a couple of fences. I was all over him last year, and I don't need a replay. It's there in my mind. I think Minolendo jumped better than him.
Yeah, and that's the key thing with A Plus Tard this year. His jumping has been brilliant. He was always in the wrong place at the wrong time, probably, at Leopardstown, and that he was too far back, and then he got to the front too soon in the Savile Chase, and Galvin nabbed him. Now, in fairness, Galvin probably shouldn't have nabbed him, because he shouldn't be outspeeded by Galvin around Leopardstown over 3 miles. If all the horses were the same price, I think A Plus Tard would be my selection, because he is just the type that will jump and travel, and he's going to be bang there. I think he will reverse that form with Minolendo, and I think he's got a massive chance because, as you say, I don't think he jumped as well as he can in the race last year. The one at a bigger price that I think has been overlooked all season is Royal Pagaille. If the rain does arrive in the week after next, like if it's soft ground, he'll be close to 10 to 1, not 25 to 1. I think he's a good horse. I don't think people are giving him the credit that he deserves. And you have to remember, it's a Gold Cup. It's 3 Mile 2. It's Cheltenham. It's going to be a slog. You need stamina. He might be outpaced in the first part of the race, but he has at least experience of running the race last year. I think he'll run a big race, Royal Pagaille.
It's going to take some effort, isn't it, to wrestle it off the Irish.
He needs a bog. He needs a bog, Royal Pagaille. I don't think there's any doubt about that. There were better chances trained in Britain.
He was a proper flyer in the race last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But I mean, you know, it was unknown. He'd done so well the way he'd won, but then he didn't get really bottomless ground, and he got found out for it, and he will get found out for it again if it isn't bottomless. He'll need it.
He ran one at Newbury, did it? But the ground probably wasn't his
favour. But you know, I mean, you'd want him to be outstaying Eldorado Ellen even over that trip.
2 Mile 7 though.
It's a good race, isn't it? Because not even mentioned Album Photo yet. If it rains, is he out of it?
He fancies Protectorate.
So do I.
You do as well.
So do I.
Is he this year's Royal Pagaille? He's a total flyer, Tom, isn't he?
No. So Royal Pagaille is an out-and-out stayer who'd won a Peter Marsh in bottomless ground. This is a 2 mile 1. This is a 2 mile 4 furlong Grade 1 winner, Aintree, who has come out this season and run 2 big career bests. If he hadn't made a mistake in a Paddy Power, he'd have won that. He absolutely hacked up at Aintree. Now we both know that Native River has subsequently retired. But 49 lengths third was Sam Brody. Ran Royal Pagaille to half a length. Okay, he was only getting a
different Sam.
You know, of course, yeah. I understand that, but the point being, I was standing at Sandown in the Tingle Creek, and I'm hitting the lay button on Protectorate because there's no way a horse can race that keenly on bottomless ground at Aintree like that and last home. And he didn't just last home; he was still keen when he went past the bloody line.
It was very impressive.
We
that
know
day,
now
wasn't it?
we know now that he stays. Right, he has pace. Right, and you talk, you know, everyone says, oh, you need to stay to win a Gold Cup, and it's absolute rubbish, really. Right, the vast majority of horses who win the Gold Cup have had form in their life, much shorter than 3 miles.
Kicking King.
Right? You look at Kicking King, War of Attrition, Sizing John, Best Mate, Corto Star, let's not forget, Desert Orchid, loads and loads and loads of them. So you've got a Grade 1 horse, a horse capable of being competitive in a high-class company at 2.5, who suddenly shows not just that he stays, but he stays very, very well. You've got to be a player. I think he has to go.
Yeah, our ratings, man. Steve Mason Racing Post Racing gave him 171, 172 for when he won at Aintree. Now, you can disagree on what you like with that. But before Album Photo won his first Gold Cup, he'd got nothing like that. You know, he was 5 or 6 pounds below that. There's lots of horses that have gone into the Gold. Sizing John didn't have that rating, even though he'd won an Irish Gold Cup, I think.
Exactly, yeah. Horses improve all of a sudden. And when they do, you have to pay attention. And the other thing is, and you know, as you know, everyone will tell you, horses who win the Gold Cup for the first time, for the vast majority of the time, they're having their first go at the race.
That's right. I think
Native
horses.
River was at his second, but
I think it's 1 from 80 something horses that have run it, not won the Gold Cup, coming back the next year. I think it's a terrible stat against A Plus Tard. I'm not a stats man at all. And
That's
I'm not
my two gone.
No, but I'm not.
An album photo is, he's got to be Porto star, hasn't he?
But you've been sweet on, like I spoke to you a few weeks ago. You've
I
been
like
sweet
him.
on Protector.
Yeah, I like him. I like him. I can't see what's not to like. He's done as much as he's the youngest horse in the race for starters. Yeah. We like young horses in Gold Cups. That's clearly proven over years. It's hard to win when you get.
Is he good enough though?
Well, we've just said he's better than Alpoon Photo was before he won.
179 won the race last year. So
I tell you what, he's a hell of a lot better than going into this race. He's a hell of a lot better than Manella Endo was.
Yeah.
Are we overlooking Tornado
Yes,
Flyer
we are a bit. I think he's dangerous. He is.
Yeah.
If he jumps well enough.
I was sensing a Tom on the day.
Yeah, I
Tornado
think he's
Flyer.
dangerous. He is, because I just think he's going to be a lurker out the back.
That's exactly. They're going to ride him cold, aren't they? And if they go too hard, he'll be keeping on. If you watch back last year's festival,
Did you tip him in the King George?
No.
Some big judges did, didn't they? But
Yeah, well, that's right.
if you watch him back in the Ryanair last year, he's coming on. He's third, isn't he? Behind Alaho.
He's had one chance
didn't
at
have the
3.
pace
He's
for it.
had one chance at 3 miles, and he's won a King George easily. I think if he, which I suspect, he's a massive. 3 miles, 2 furlongs around Cheltenham's going to bring him on again.
174 we gave him for that.
Yeah.
Didn't jump very well last year, but it might have just been a case of going too fast for him.
He was plodding on.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's interesting. Okay, this is it for everyone out there. Gold Cup tips, Tom.
I've been with Protectorate from months now, so I'm not missing him.
DJ.
At the prices, I'm hoping for a bit of rain, and I'll go for Royal Pagai.
All right, interesting.
Yeah, Protectorat, Galvin, reverse forecast the pair. They're the only two I can see in the race.
That's value for money, Keels. A reverse forecast.
There you go. That's what you get, isn't it? Okay.
What about you, Dave? What do you fancy?
I think the Galvin will hit the line hard. I think the Hill's going to do it. Savills' form looks much stronger than the Irish Gold Cup. Thought Tornado Flyer was the interesting one. And he's not a sort of horse that I like at all, Tornado Flyer. First win to 2019 in King George, but the figures, I think we're overlooking him. So, yeah, he's interesting. Okay, after this, I always find that the Gold Cup day as a punter is a horrible day, really. If you haven't won by the Gold Cup, you are in a lot of trouble. One of my lays of the week runs in the Hunter's Chase. He couldn't even beat a non-stayer last year, and it's Bill away. How Porlock did him up the hill, I do not know. I think he will be one of the... But apart from that, I haven't really got a view on it. I'm a point-to-point man as well, and I haven't really seen much. So, anything in the Hunter Chase?
Well,
like Bill away.
I thought you were going to be absolutely...
He's got the cheeky cheek pieces on, and I'm told they really fancy him.
They always fancy
Well, he
him,
only
though.
got
They
beaten.
always
He got beaten the nose
by a
last year.
total non-stayer. How the hell that one?
The only thing I will say is, not since 1963 has Tom Segal tipped a favourite. So the fact that you're tipping a favourite here...
Porlock Bay was
is
about
very
my only
impressive.
winner last year.
They love it when Tom tips a favourite punters. They
Absolutely.
absolutely love it.
No, I don't know. I haven't.
No, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
It's not a race I have any opinion on at the moment, but it will be a race I'll look at on the day because, once again, I mean, Keels will hate it, but it's another race that the bookmakers don't look at.
What about Wing Leader? There's a lot of buzz for them, isn't there?
Wing Leader's got a massive chance. Spoke to David Christie a few weeks ago, and he was quite sweet in his chances. Looks a different horse this year. Was good at Thurles. I tipped up on it earlier on in the year. I tipped up a horse called Highway Jewel for this, who I thought ran really well.
First pint of Guinness gone.
There goes the £31.
Hidden pint of Guinness. I thought Highway Jewel ran really well at the April meeting here to win after making a shocking mistake, and ran well at Warwick last season. She's a young mare who could have more to offer if she runs, but I'm not sure if she's going to run. But I think Wing Leader is the most likely winner.
Is this a cross-country race for you, Kil?
This is, after the Gold Cup is when the people who aren't completely drunk already will get completely drunk. I mean, they've weakened at the end of, it's always been, apart from the Gold Cup, it's always been a weekday.
Should the Gold Cup be the last
and
race
it's
on
become,
a Friday?
I don't know about that because everybody
It's
will
just
be
such a
wasted
come
by
down,
then.
isn't it?
I don't know about that, but they've weakened it for removing the Grand Annual, and now we've got the Hunter's Chase, and then we've got the Mayor's Chase, and then
It
we've
does
got
seem
the
like a
Martin
very
Park.
lull.
It is a bit of a weak finish to the day. I don't follow Hunter Chases. If I did, I'd maybe have an opinion. The thing that beat Bill away last time, I think is okay. I remember I did a podcast, and Jane Manga was on it last year, and she was talking. She tipped the winner, and I'd forgotten all about it until Tom tipped it on In the Know. And then I thought, I ended up back in that, but I had no idea myself. So,
Was that Paul?
One of the only couple of ones I had, Porlock Bay, yeah. So I will let other people.
All right, let's move on. All right, Mayor's Chase, Ellie May, got nutted by your horse last year.
Colreevy, yeah.
Yes, now retired Colreevy. Is she going to do it? Or I really like Mount Ida here. I think she's one of the bets of the week.
No, I'm the opposite. I think Ellie May is really, really solid here. Cheek pieces on last time at Naas, ridden more aggressively. Like that form from last year, she should have won really. And I think a repeat of that run, and I think she can better that run. I think a repeat of that run would be good enough. I can see her going off 6-4, 11-8. I think at the moment Ellie May is value.
She came back, didn't she, last time after a Horlicks at Aintree, wasn't it? She came over.
She's a bit of a lummox, Ellie May, for me. She makes so many mistakes. She's a bit
half
ponderous.
Sister to Goshen, isn't she?
She's a bit ponderous for me. She's not for me at 6-4.
No, I'm saying that's the price you go off. She's 3s.
Well,
5-2 currently with Paddy's. I just looked. There you are.
She's not for me.
Bit of housekeeping.
Prefer Mount Ida. I think they sorted out her back, and I think she will jump better this time. And she's a stayer. But the horse we mentioned, Alan King's mare, that if she ran here rather than going for the plate, I'd give her a shot.
Yeah, you'd give Vienna Court an outside shot as well.
Exactly. Vienna Court the other.
Concertista in here as well.
I don't think Concertista jumps well enough. I still half got it in my head that he's going to drop her into the mare's hurdle instead.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He's still in it until they're out.
Let's put the kettle on going for champion. We should say that.
Yeah,
she's been doing my head in.
I mean, I thought put the kettle on definitely stays the trip, and if she ran here, she'd have a great chance.
Surely, if Henry is looking at if Energamine, Shishkin and Shakan Persaud make it to the champion chase, and it comes to declaration time, I think he might twist and go for the mare's chase.
Yeah, well, if he does, then she's got a massive chance.
And the final race of the day, Tony Ennis, who kindly did a 30-second tip for us, put up Langadan as his nap of the festival. We bumped into Gallop into Shop. He's £3 lower. It was massively eye-catching.
He's going to bump into something else, though.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
That's the thing. He's going to bump into another novice.
Some people never.
Who is? I mean, look at the horses. Willie Mullins has won the race with Dom Poli, Gallop into Champ, Kilalta Vic, Sedé Champ was the other one, wasn't he? I mean, look at them. Like, you only need one more of them in there, and Langadan just finishes second or third again, doesn't he? Like, as good as he is. And you know that
moderate comeback, wasn't it, from Langadan?
It was all about.
Well, it was all about getting ready, wasn't it?
Might be all about getting ready,
but in the paper for that and had to put eye catch. He very rarely put eye catches, but he wasn't.
Moderate effort.
Will he run in the Imperial Cup? Will he go that route again?
They're going to keep him mad for this, aren't they? Surely.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you know what you're going to run into in this race from Ireland, don't you? Like, you know what I mean? Have a good record in it for a reason. I was looking through it. It's guesswork for us because we don't know. But the one thing you know about this, you look at the names of the horses that won it, because obviously Delta Work won it as well.
Delta Work won the Pertemps.
Oh, he won the Pertemps, sorry, yeah. But I mean, they all stay. They all stay. So I want a horse that looks, even if it hasn't shown it on the track, it's got it in the breeding that suggests it's going to. And I stumbled across a Mullins horse called Drop the Getaway, who's a 7-year-old. Deploy the Getaway. So I keep calling it Drop the Getaway for something. Deploy the Getaway, 7-year-old.
Maybe it's a sign you need to drop it.
He's leaving up this name pronunciation now, isn't it? Lovely.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, he has only run over 2 miles. He's rated 140. He won his point by 20 lengths. His dam is a half sister to a 3-mile 6 furlong chase winner. All stamina in there. And I came down to that one. I wouldn't say I really, really fancy it because it's a guess more than anything. But I think the ones that Mullins had in there, I liked him at the prices more than the others.
Any buzz for the Mullins Gold Cup winner of the future?
Like Deploy the Getaway, I thought travelled like a really nice horse at Punchestown. I think he's definitely got a chance. Of the Irish, I think the best chance is Hollow Games. I think they're going to go here with Hollow Games. He's got proper Grade 1 form, was obviously third to Ginto, where things didn't really go his way in the Lauders and Ace. I'd say I think he got a mark 142. I think he's got a big chance here and he'll stay. But the one if he gets in, and I hope he gets in, is Might Eye for Harry Fry. He's rated 135 and he's got that mark on his 2-mile form against Constitution Hill and against John Bon. He's a half-brother to Statler and Binge Drinker, who both obviously need 3 miles at least. I think the new course is really going to suit Might Eye. Only 2 hurdles in the final 6 furlongs. I think he's a very good horse. You're looking at me as if I've 10 heads and I've only got 3 chins.
No. I'd like to have a count up. I reckon you have tipped more British.
He does this. He does this. This is what DJ does. People will have been looking at this show.
Just paying you to put a book on them or something.
No, once Manila Cruna wins, I'll be happy. But Might Eye is not a 135 rated horse.
He's bred to stay, DJ, as well. We spoke about this.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a very good horse. He's way down the list. He would have got into 4 of the last 6 Martin Pipes. I don't know if he'll get into this one, but if he does, he's rated 135. He's been crying out for a step up and trip. He's 20 to 1. He's a massive chance.
Final race of the day. Final race of a long preview.
Yeah.
What do you
I
go
thought
for?
there was another one coming.
We've not got Midlands National.
There might be another Grand Annual. I'm not sure.
What was I going to... I didn't really think much of it. I thought Chemical Energy for Gordon Elliott had a chance. I think I'm a big jockeys man. I think Shane Fitzgerald's going to ride him. I think he's one of the superstars.
Is this a watch the market race, guys? This one, is it?
But I like Chemical Energy at the moment.
Right, that's the Martin Pike. Good luck finding the Willie Mullins good thing in it. But let's get the best bet of the day for the final day of the Cheltenham Festival. Kills.
Yeah, let's keep it simple. Protectorate wins the Gold Cup, doesn't it?
Nice and easy, DJ.
Oh, Manila Crooner and the Albert Bartlett.
Banker time.
Oh, I'll go for, because Keels has taken Protectorate, I'll go for Dr. Parnassus in the Triumph.
In the Triumph. There you go. Gold Cup day. Done. Right then, before we get the naps and lays and each way good thing from the panel, let's get a members club sign up for you out there. Let's have a look on the screen. There you go. It's amazing value, this, boys, isn't it? You pay $9.99 for your first month. Usually 35 odd pounds. You get everything. You can read Keels, DJ and Tom every day. Subscribe today, then look at that. You get all your replays for free. Absolute must have. You can see terms and conditions do apply. There you go. I've got that out of the way. What do you reckon? QVC salesman of the future, potentially?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would have done well in The Apprentice the other night. See it? They were trying to sell stuff, yeah.
Were they?
You don't watch The Apprentice?
No.
Ah, my favourite show.
No. Okay then, this is the business end of the show. You'll be delighted to know. Keels, you've probably hopefully got the memo. A nap, a lay, and an each way good thing, if there is such
I'll give you 3 horses, just I won't tell you which one's which.
You make your own mind up.
If you haven't watched the show by now, you might want to go back and have a little look. People will be skipping right to the end for this bit.
Alaphilippe's a nap. The lay, I think, is going to be Brandy Love in that Mare's Novice Hurdle. I think she'll jump sideways at the last. And the each way. West Cork Wildway in the plate.
Oh, yeah, Paul O'Flynn.
Paul O'Flynn.
All right, DJ, take it away.
My nap is Manila Crooner in the Albert Bartlett. My lay is Brave Man's Game in the Bren Advisory. I don't think he'll handle the track. And my each way is Might I in the Martin Pipe.
Love it, DJ. Tom?
I will go for Long Press, provided he runs in the Brown Advisory. If he doesn't, Protectorate. And the lay, it's a risky one. Facile Vega in the bumper for me. I would think he's too short, and the each way selection would be Dr. Parnassus in the Triumph.
Go big or go home, as they say. Right, I'm Pied Piper in the Triumph. Absolute hose up job, hopefully, in that. Lay, Statler, if he goes for the form honour, as it looks like, what was the form honour, as it looks like, and the each way good thing, fullback in the Ultima for you out there for Gary Moore. He's got that course form. That, you will be delighted to know, chaps, is the end of the 2022 Racing Post preview. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Well done.
What to do? What about you?
Yeah. That's a surprise. I had another 0 on that. DJ, great to have you over.
Thanks very much,
We
yeah.
get to go for a beer now.
Yeah, we're going for a boozy lunch, will we, Keels?
We'll bite of a couple.
And I have to spend Cheltenham week with this
Now,
great man.
I'm glad you got in there, because we're going to
isn't
see a lot of you now, more than the missus and the kids. So
Yeah, good morning, Cheltenham, every morning, and it's live, Keels. Please do not swear.
God, don't never hear me swear, mate.
No, actually, he's the type you think might swear, but he's actually very good on the cursing front.
Trust me, the Watch Out feature show we do, the amount of editing in that is insane. 8:30 every morning from Cheltenham.
Every morning live, and we have
Sponsored by
cracking guests. Paddy Power.
Happy Days.
We've got Matt Chapman one of the days. We've got Mick Fitzgerald. We've got Natalie Green, who I love.
she'll be
We've
brilliant.
got Kate Tracy. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff. Tom, we got you back into the studio. This is summer. I mean, that is a miracle.
Good
That was a
effort,
101,
isn't it?
wasn't it?
That's a
I
good
owe him a
effort.
tenner. That's why he's in.
Great stuff, Tom. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Dave.
Brilliant. Enjoy the festival. Thank you for watching out there. I've been Dave Orton. We've been brought to you by Paddy Power. Enjoy the festival then. Back some winners.